Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Click R3 number 41. Big episode. Highs and lows. It's been a roller coaster. I like it though. There's a lot of fun stuff to go over here. And with me, of course, the one and only co-host, Mystic Ryan. How's it going?
Hi. Hey, John. I'm good. You like it? You like the turmoil of this past week?
I mean, it's interesting. It's more interesting than if nothing happened and we're like, oh, okay, well,
sure.
I will say though, Ryan, before the PlayStation talk starts, I see you in that Pokemon shirt right now. Okay.
Yeah.
How you feeling going into tomorrow morning?
I mean, there's one thing I want to see, and there's one thing I think a lot of people want to see. So I just hope they show it.
Gen 10.
Probably a little teaser. I'd have to imagine it's like a teaser, very similar to what they did with Scarlet Violet. A sort of like maybe not live action, but because that'd be cursed, but like a sort of animation and maybe some quick snippets of gameplay.
I figure they want to show at least a quick snippet because it's the first Switch 2 exclusive Pokemon game. So just to set the tone, I figured you were you're getting kind of excited for tomorrow. I don't know if you're into all the other Pokemon merch. I mean the merchandise and stuff too, I assume. But
I mean, that's the thing. I don't ever hide that. Like there's a alternate timeline out there where I have a Let's Talk Pokemon show. It's big for me, yeah. I mean, that's
a shame you never did that.
Now, if they make Pokemon Go announcements, Pokemon Sleep, those are pertinent to me because I play those. I stay away from the TCG, which is thank God I do. But I also don't hyper follow the Pokemon news. I kind of love like keeping that as hobbyish as it can be for me.
I mean, that's a good way you can look at it too, just as a fun thing,
Yeah.
So that works. Okay, I think I figured it out on X. I think I can repost it. Okay, I got it.
Sean's asking about Tokyo Extreme Racer. No, Sean, I didn't buy it, but I really do. I'm really excited for that game.
Yeah, I actually told. It's funny. I told Sean it was out. He forgot it was out completely. I was like, "Yeah, it's out. I saw it on the store," and he went and bought it right away, and he's been playing it.
Yeah. Oh, is it good? So I keep hearing that it's like pretty much like it's a PS2 PS5 game, and that's like my love. That's
what it looks like. That's the reason I wanted to play it because it looks so. See, yeah, Sean's like hooked on it right now because it looks so different than all the racing games now. You know what? Some of the videos that pop up now, my recommended because sometimes I think YouTube can like read your mind. I swear it's the idea that racing games back in the day are better than than we get now for a lot of these games, and people are it feels soulless and stuff. I'm like, man, it kind of does with some of these racing games. But then I see Tokyo Extreme Race. First of all, the cover art looks awesome on this thing, which is a real shame because we didn't get a physical copy here. You have to import it from, I think PlayAsia has like I think it's the Asia version, but it has English on it.
Asia English is like, that's usually like the option if we don't get a print here. I've heard it's grindy though, which I don't like hearing.
There's like a whole skill tree that you do, and people are pointing out that you need to do certain prerequisites for each thing. But I also don't mind it as much because the thing I've noticed, and it was pointed out, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. A lot of these newer racing games desperately want to get you into a supercar as fast as possible. And to me, the buildup of something like, I'll take Need for Speed Underground 2, just as an example. It's very popular. A lot of people know it. It takes time, dude. They give you like this junk Civic or whatever, like this early car, and you got to race around and basically what everyone had back then in, high school where you had that friend who was desperately trying to make his mom's like Accord good. And that was always the thing, right? You build up and eventually get the skyline. And you're like, oh, wow, this is cool. I spent 12 hours doing it, but it's awesome.
Well, dude, like I prefer Underground 1 versus 2, but like it's the same story. Like I've played that game multiple times. I pick a Mazda Miata and I take that bitch all the way to the end game. Well, yeah, because the whole point you tune it the whole way through.
Yeah,
like you win on magazine covers and stuff, and you customize it, put a body kit on it, and I stick with that Miata.
Underglow.
Oh, Underglow. Oh yeah, big time, Daddy. Come on, man. The car looks good. Yeah. So Extreme Racer, I've definitely been like laser focused on that game. I'd love to pick it up at some point.
Yeah, I'm the problem is I have Resident Evil is about to be out. It's after this podcast, I'm going to probably start it up because it's dropping at midnight. I've been playing Nioh 3 though the whole time. I
All
am
right.
I am at the end of the game, and get this, Brian. I think it's gonna be a platinum.
What?
I know, dude. I've actually been hooked on this game. I
Wait,
can't
so
believe
that
it.
wait, that means they've been handing out trophies because you don't do the whole out of my way thing. You don't
Well,
do
no, but
that.
that's the thing, though. This is a very convenient open world game to where it's so there's the shrines that you come across in the game. There are like save points or points that you can level yourself up or do equipment, whatever. And it refills your health, but then also respawns all the enemies like different Souls games, of course, tried and true. But they have 156 of these things on the map. So they
Mm.
are everywhere, and you can fast travel at any point in time out as long as you're not in combat to any of these points. And then as you go through each area that's specifically marked and you level up that area of exploration just by walking through it, it'll like start placing the different points of the things you need. And most of the times they're right near a shrine anyway. You teleport to it, you do these different things very quickly because they're like collectibles, find these things, and then your character gets more powerful from it. Like they're legitimate power-ups to where some of these bosses, I think of many of them I'm beating first try.
Mm.
Just because it's an open world game and you just become very powerful in it as you go. So there's like that power fantasy, like I'm going to basically be able to annihilate everyone as a ninja or as a samurai. And you switch between the two stances immediately by pressing R2. So I'm playing it on the PS5 Pro. Looks a little blurry, but I have it in like the maintain FPS mode. So this is a game I'd rather play it at a lower resolution, but higher frame rate. And I've enjoyed it. No idea what's happening in the story. I'm traveling through time. So I don't know.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's fun.
Right.
The combat is good. The gameplay is good.
So you are enjoying it.
Very satisfying.
No, so like that's the thing, John. This is a busy weekend, right? Because Requiem comes out, and then the marathon playtest just opened. Closed invites were sent out for Horizon Hunters Gathering, and then I think Four Loop is also doing a playtest this weekend. Which
I have not.
I know. I imagine. I know. No, I imagine
No.
the last two playtests people don't care much for. If I had gotten into the Horizon one, I probably would have played that. But the marathon one's open, so I
downloaded Marathon on the Xbox. I think Nate and MVG wanted to play it there, which is fine because I'm playing Resident Evil on the PlayStation 5 Pro. So I'll try it this weekend and see what we have. But then I'm also, unless it's like horrible, I'll probably end up getting it because MVG wanted to play it, and then Nate will probably be peer pressure into getting it as well. So
all right,
it's gonna happen.
I finished Sons of Sparta recently.
Oh yeah, see, I was playing it, but I dropped that for Nioh, Nioh 3, and I'm 50 hours into Nioh 3 now, so it has eaten up all of my time.
I know. I think you were right. That was probably like the right decision.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm like, I think it says the game says 25 hours for me, dude. It's long. It's like way longer than I thought it was.
As the map kept expanding for me, I was like, whoa, okay, there's a lot more here than I thought.
Yeah, it kept going. It's weird. Like I think the game definitely is much better once you have like all the upgrades, because like then traversal feels like a little bit more snappy and responsive. Combat is still like I didn't click with it super tight the way I think the game wants me to connect with it. It's just basic spear attacks, obviously, but I had to like buy the specific shield that opens the parry window because the attack animations from like everything I encounter, it's the window where you parry is just so off to me in like a lot of encounters. But opening the parry window, being able to move around the map faster, now it's like I think early on I was like, it's like a 6, 7 out of 10. Now it's like maybe like a safe 7 for me. But I wrapped up the story, and the map still has tons of stuff to find as a Metroidvania would have. Obviously, I'll probably finish the platinum at some point.
Okay. I think the real issue this game runs into is you mentioned a 7. It's a very average game in a sea of some very impressive Metroidvania games we've had over the last 5 or 6 years.
Yep. I would say it's not an outstanding God of War game, and it's not an outstanding Metroidvania.
Good job, Ryan. You know what I've noticed? I've seen a lot of people come up with like a range in their mind as they're talking about something, an amount of years, a score, and they always just end up saying 6, 7. And I don't know if it's because so many people have been like joking and memeing about it now to where just in your mind, subconsciously, you just say it. Like Sean says it all the time now. And I don't even think he realizes he's saying it until he has. And he's like, he does in his videos sometimes and stuff. It's really funny. I just wonder if it's just because it's out there and you're already kind of thinking about it without thinking about it, and you end up just going to it.
No, because I think it does encapsulate like a great talking point of 7 is on like 7. I think most reasonable people would say like that's still a good like enjoyable game. Like it has redeeming qualities, but it's on that cusp of like 6 is where it starts falling into
Mm,
an area of oh, this is it's got issues that might impede you from really enjoying the game.
right.
I don't think people tend to say 5 6 because like 5 is like straight up like generally considered mediocre bad.
Mhm.
Like the 6 and yes, 7 sit on that cusp of like just barely good or kind of good.
We used to just count like normal people back in the day. What's this world come to?
Well, I know I can't say things without it being inferred as some sort of
Mm.
greater cultural meme icon with the youth of today.
Oh well.
We're not hip with it. That's the real issue here. I may never will be.
Oh yeah, are you gonna get Fire Red or Leaf Green? I should ask you that.
I mean, I don't know if I'll like buy them right away. But I mean, I like those games. Obviously, I love them. Love them.
I thought you were gonna tell everybody about how you have it. Is that you have Fire Red and Leaf Green both boxed?
Actually, so I'm missing 3 complete in box games: Fire Red, Red and Blue. Those are the
You have
only
Leaf Green then.
So I have Leaf Green like complete in box. Yeah, I have a funny story about like those games though. When they were announced when I was younger, I thoroughly remember having like a somewhat morbid thought, and I was like almost scared. Like I was so excited for those remakes because they were remakes at the time. It was just fucking insane to think of. But I was so excited for those games.
Bye, Sean.
You can leave the show on while you're racing, Sean. Come on. I was so excited for those games. Like a young Ryan thought, like, what if I die before I play these? Like, what if I get into a major accident and I can't play Fire Red and Leaf Green?
You had that thought. People had that thought about GTA 6 forever now.
I know, but that was a core. This is a core memory. I don't know why I thought of that, but I morbidly thought, like, what if I won't be able to play this game? So
the games were so good you considered your own mortality leading up to it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I specifically remember thinking about that for Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Man, that's crazy. How old are you then?
Oh God, I don't know. 10 something maybe. I don't know. When did the game come out? 2004.
I think it was 2004.
It was a year after Ruby Sapphire, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It was 04.
I can't math right now. Don't ask me to math. We got news though. A lot of shit going on this week, John, as you know. We'll just knock out some quick, fast ones, kind of boring stuff here. We have the March lineup for PS Plus Essential that goes live March 3rd. It's going to be PGA Tour 2K25, Monster Hunter Rise, Slime Rancher, and the Elder Scrolls Online Collection, the Gold Road. So that's all the content up to 2024. You don't get the 2025 stuff.
I saw that sports game and I was like, Ryan's just punching air right now seeing that.
No. It's one of the few sports games I enjoy, golf and basketball. I'm okay with golf. Okay. I get that that's a write-off for people though. The point I always like to make is that if they ever do a sports game in Plus, just do a 4th game. Like do a bonus game. So they actually did do that. I don't think it's an amazing lineup, but at least you got 4.
That's fair. That's fair.
You got 6 games leaving PS Plus Extra and Premium. Now that the February lineup went up, that's Circus Electric, Chris Tales, Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy, Paradise Killer, Redout 2, and TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I recommend people play that one. We have new PS5 system software beta. Invites were sent out, so some people are already in this. Don't get too excited, John. I think major firmware updates are over because there's 3 items on the changelog. Unicode 17 emojis now supported.
Finally.
Yep. And then they've improved the messages and usability on some screens. They've improved system software performance and stability. Damn.
How do you measure that? Do you just like set your PS5 up and try to knock it over?
You could. There's always that meme where they put a PlayStation like on like it's a GIF of a PlayStation imposed on that Boston Dynamics robot, and then they kick the robot.
Oh yeah.
But it stays steady, so it's like, I'm sure they're doing more of that. Got a big update going on for the PlayStation Store. Nice little quality of life transparency update. Excuse me, John. If you remember before the PS Store, they did this thing server side where every store listing for a game, they would now tell you the lowest price of that game in the last 30 days, which is like helpful, but like not really. Now they're adding a new thing on top of that. So not everyone has this just yet, but they'll tell you the launch price of that game. So no matter what, it'll now show you the launch price, and it will show you the lowest price in the last 30 days.
That seems somewhat helpful. Yeah.
Somewhat helpful. We really need the lowest price it's ever had.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We need that.
Just like a price. We need like a price tracker where it shows like a graph and how expensive it's gotten, how cheap it's gotten. That's not a bad idea.
There's a bunch of third-party sites that do that too. So it's like, you're still gonna have to go to them to like really get some transparency there. Sony's running a deal right now on PS5 games and accessories. This is more of a little PSA, but it runs to March 9th. PSVR 2 is $300. That actually just crossed over its third birthday to very little fanfare. PS Studio games are $30 from their full $70 MSRP. Do you see the Yote and DS2 collector's editions are $100 off? I don't think I don't think you should ever buy collector's editions for PS Studio games on day one. They like all stay in stock. I think the Spider-Man 2 one sold out, or maybe it's up there. I didn't see that one, but
it's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of these get heavily discounted. The Forbidden West one was up there for a long time. Then there's deals on console covers, third-party accessories. The SSDs are still overpriced, but they're on sale.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was trying to see if there are any good deals on any of the games because they have like a big PlayStation like network sale going on too.
Yeah, I mean the first party stuff like it gets dropped to 30 typically. So I think most of them are 30 right now.
Nathan Drake collection is $6.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It's so good that it's a great segue. Yeah, let's just let's knock this one out. Sony shuts down Bluepoint Games. Initially, this was reported by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier and then quietly confirmed by SIE. The studio will shut down next month, and roughly 70 staff members are going to lose their jobs. As a reminder, they shipped Demon's Souls remake in 2020. They worked on God of War Ragnarok for 2 years. After that, they were working on a God of War live service game, which was canceled in January 2025. And since then, reported by Jason Schreier, the studio was pitching last year. So something, obviously it didn't work out. As part of an internal email from the CEO of the studio's business group, Herman Holst, they said, quote, "This decision was not made lightly. Bluepoint is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. I want to thank everyone at Bluepoint for their creativity, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. Where possible, we will work to find opportunities for some impacted employees within our global network of studios." Shocking news. It's crazy. Shocking news.
Shocking news is right. That was you can go down the list of studios that were on they were teetering within PlayStation from our perspective. Bluepoint was nowhere on that list for any of us. I feel like anyway. I mean, people were thinking Media Molecule always comes up. Haven obviously comes up. Bluepoint does not come up. Even because they said that they were going to find something for them to do basically when we heard about the God of War live service game getting canceled. It's like, well, yeah, of course they will. It's Bluepoint. They'll give them a remake or something to do. That would make sense. Especially since Ben went through a similar thing at that time and they're still operational. They seem to have a project and they're rolling. But Bluepoint, this one hit hard too, right? It was difficult for Sony to even advertise things on social media because this was happening. Yep. They tried to put something out about Marathon and people were just asking them about Bluepoint, like ripping them about it. So they didn't post on their social media account for 3 days or something?
Yeah. The three days they went silent, which I'm sure was a very deliberate decision on their part.
Yeah, and the Bluepoint thing is it's hard for people to believe that there was nothing there for them to they couldn't come up with something for Bluepoint to do. But I don't know, Ryan. What's your read on this? Because it's changed so much online. Everyone's trying to figure out what happened, the backstory to it, why they got shut down. Because it does seem that Bluepoint's they didn't have a ton of turnover. Like a lot of the old guard, the staff was there, and it just seemed like Sony and Bluepoint couldn't come to terms on what they were even going to work on next, and they spent 8 to 10 months trying to pitch stuff back and forth after the God of War live service game got canceled.
Right. Yeah. It's complicated, I would have to imagine, but it's just as you say, it's shocking. I can't believe there was no path here.
Right.
So a lot of the conversations I've been having, and we've certainly discussed this every time we talk about Bluepoint and like that God of War live service thing. It's generally a case within PlayStation Studios that teams aren't assigned projects. And the reason why I always like to make that point is that it's even more important for outside of Bluepoint, for example, just so we're all on the same page, that SI is not assigning Sucker Punch to make a samurai game. They're not assigning Naughty Dog to make a sci-fi game. Maybe something more analogous to Bluepoint is Housemarque. They didn't tell Housemarque to make an arcade bullet hell roguelite shooter with a narrative tied in, right? The studios tend to have creative agency, and they're allowed to come up with ideas and pitch. But obviously there is speculation here. So I would assume the cyclical logic that Bluepoint had was after working 2 years on Ragnarok, being close to that source material, that maybe they felt compelled to pitch an idea like that, knowing it will get approval. What's lesser known and certainly what's unknown about the full Bluepoint picture is because the only language we ever had when they were acquired from the studio head, Marco Thrush, was that the next evolution for that studio was doing new original content. That to me said that they want to do something beyond remakes. He used very specific language. Like we weren't brought up on remakes and remasters. Like it seems, okay, maybe creatively that's where they'd like to go. So, I mean, the logic I would have to assume is they felt compelled to pitch that. That didn't pan out because, I think the negligence is really, regardless of if they were assigned it or not, the negligence should be, why would Sony approve that? I think any reasonable person could probably look at a staff of 70-something people and like learn right away, like, okay, like this is a bad idea. There's a sort of qualitative analysis here that has to take place. It's similar to the Concord thing in that, like, they thought Concord was going to be their Star Wars. And it's like, there has to be a qualitative analysis here of like knowing that this team can make a polished product, no doubt, but this is just not something you should be doing.
Yeah, you mentioned 70 people. The thing that's weird is, so God of War Ragnarok came out 2022, and you feel like during development they would have pitched it or at least thrown the idea around. And we were obviously, Sony was still kind of learning the live service stuff, figuring it out, but we were starting to hear about there still being issues around that time of God of War Ragnarok coming out. And you feel like at some point they would even calm down with the development, like, maybe we should pivot this away from live service. Something. It feels like you mentioned they have agency over ideas and things they want to pitch, but you do also need to have somebody almost being the adult in the room, because it's a video game. Like a bunch of developers and almost kids, like, this is gonna be really fun. We're gonna do this, this, and this, and the scope gets out of control. You have somebody that comes in and is like, that'll be cool. Probably not feasible if we want this game out in the next 5 years, right? So I figure that's supposed to be Herman Hulst on a studio level, like across the board. He's supposed to be able to manage and at least try to put these studios in the best position possible to succeed. And it just seemed like this Bluepoint thing got out of control with God of War, and almost like this is the problem though, Ryan, that I have kind of with Herman Hulst right now. This feels a bit like a trend for him. Like it's not like it's a one-off thing, because you just mentioned Concord, where the stories around Herman Hulst thinking this was going to be a Star Wars-like event for them or IP, and I tend to believe that because there was an entire Amazon secret level episode for this thing that, by the way, was like the longest secret level episode. Like it wasn't like a quick. The Mega Man one was so short and it was so sad. But the Concord one just kept going and going and go. There was like they might have had an intermission in the middle. I don't know. It went forever. But that's the thing. It's like, man, they put a lot into that. There was a controller for it. It's like,
well, they so merch full. Yeah, they have full blown merch. Yeah. No, I agree. I think they did think they had something, and they very clearly didn't.
So I think of that, and then I think of the Last of Us situation where they let Naughty Dog get all the way to the end and go, oh, we have to support this? Really? Like that was like a shock apparently, to where they were like, just scrap the whole thing. It's like, just can't, the whole thing. It can't just be a multiplayer game on its own that you just put out there for $40. It's like, no, cancel it. It's like, that feels like a waste of time. And now Naughty Dog's been on their back foot this whole time. We're waiting for them to still release a game this generation, an original one, not a remake or remaster or whatever. So that's my thing. It feels like a bit of a trend for Herman Hulst. I mean, we have Haven come on board, And Fair Games apparently is still in development. I need help with this one. I mean, my gosh, but this is what I mean. It's not like if this was like the only thing for Herman Hulst, then it's like, you know what? Maybe him and the studio head at Bluepoint were clashing and it was a little bit more personal or something. And it just wasn't, they just weren't going to see eye to eye. It wasn't going to work. I'm like, you know what? Hey, he got Concord to the finish line and it's a successful live service game. The Last of Us Online is a great, almost like sectional multiplayer game. Not like, hey, we're doing the big live service. Okay. He's got some hits. They didn't even think Helldivers 2 was going to be good. they probably thought
John, let's not go there. That game, it's been well documented that they doubled the budget and time for that game.
So
they did believe in that. They believed in that game.
I hear that, but do you think they, based on what you saw on the buildup, did they believe in Concord more or Helldivers 2 more?
No, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, for sure. I think they were very surprised by how well Helldivers 2 did.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like such a great like example of like two big extremes here of like one unbelievably poor call and one that like landed. Because there's like there's a semantic thing about like when the games were signed and then who like continued like supporting them. Because like the funny thing is like Shuhei signed both of these games, Concord and Helldivers 2. But under Herman's leadership, he continued investment, bought Firewalk, but continued investment in both of them. And one was a hit. I mean, it wasn't a Fortnite, but I mean, like just so we're on the same page, like SIE did believe in that game. Like they doubled the budget of it and they gave them like 4 more years to launch it. So, you know, it's just something worth mentioning that there are hits. The weird thing with like Bluepoint, and this is like the whole, I don't like it, just so we're clear, but it's like trying to like actually rationalize how the hell did this happen? The only thing that makes sense to me, I don't know if it's true, is that it's just the logic of like the labor and where they're located, and then how long it's going to be for them to make something.
Right.
You know, so if their last game was 2020, and they start something now because the live service game was canceled January 2025. So it's going to be so long until they release something. And they're located in Austin, Texas, where wages are high. It's not California wages, but like that's like I would think where they're coming from and why they got axed. I don't agree with that. And how the fuck can you not find something for these people to do?
Right.
But it's like compared to Bend, they're in Bend, Oregon. It's probably very, very hard to establish development teams in a location like that.
Right.
So and they ship Days Gone Remastered. That's cash flow for the studio. So like there's some kind of logic there. Haven Studios, they're in Montreal. There's tax breaks. The talent's there. It's a thriving community of developers. We actually heard they were also building like cloud dev tools. So maybe there's like another layer of logic for why they're still around. Media Molecule, who knows, dude? Like literally who knows? But that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I like what I really want to know is what were they pitching and how was there nothing how do we not salvage this team? Whether it's like, there's like the negligence on PlayStation, maybe there's some accountability on Bluepoint's part. I don't want to make it seem like, it's their fault. They're the smaller company. They're the smaller company being absorbed into a bigger one. Right. So there's definitely a very pressurized gray area of them trying to live, and there's a reason why they sold. It sucks. Yeah,
it's very strange that Sony, because this is the contrast that I mean. If you read that apparent message, the memo that Herman Hulst sent out, man, it sounds like Sony's like tightening the belt almost. It's like, hold on a minute, because all we hear is that they show up at these quarterly investors. This is the most we've ever made in PlayStation's history. We'll show you this chart. Okay, we're going to show you this graph. Hold on a minute, and it looks good, but then they go this team of 70 people who are very talented like in a technical sense, but maybe they're struggling to make a new original project that's live service with 70 people. They got to go, and you go, man, really? Here's the thing that's so interesting is they originally they were made up from people of Retro Studios way back in the day, and now they might go back to Retro Studios. Like that's actually possible because they're located. Retro Studios, by the way, for the longest time didn't put out anything, and then they just left them there. They're running support for all kinds of stuff. Eventually, they make Metro Prime 5, but it's interesting that just the contrasting theories there, I guess, for both companies, where they just they support. I mean, hey, this God of War remake trilogy might need help. We don't know. That's the thing I'm thinking though, Ryan, is in 5 years, Sony might look around and be like, man, we shouldn't have closed down Bluepoint. We could use them right now for this remake or something, anything. We need to tap a studio to help out with this big project we have. Maybe Bluepoint didn't want to run support anymore because the idea was we'll run support for God of War, so we learn God of War and eventually make this live service game. But to be honest, eventually you're home and host and you tell them, you got to be like, look, this is what we're doing. I know where it's like, oh, the PlayStation, the idea is they have agency. You know what? You're good at remakes. We're going to find you a remake, and that's that.
I would safely expect that they were probably still in a position of we have to figure out our own thing to do. What my frustration is, you're telling me there's nothing we could approve. I think the cutthroat reality of it is, like, even at your example, right? Like, oh, why don't they just continue doing support? Like, I think the cutthroat thing is like that's just support from Austin labor. Like, you can outsource, and that they're a business. Like, they're just going to pick cheaper outsourcing. Like, because nothing about it makes sense. But if we want to talk about C-suit cutthroat bullshit, like, it was probably that. I can't see any other. Nothing else makes sense to me because in theory, like, yeah, like whether they want to keep doing remakes or not, surely they could have kept doing that just to keep the studio alive. Because like remakes and remasters, like those have got a faster turnaround time too. You know, new IPs are tough to establish. We don't have to wait 7 years for another game. They could just to like stay afloat. You know,
right? I guess there's some kind of tie up here, and we're going to talk about Sony's stance right now on PC here soon in PC. Dude, Demon's Souls has been sitting there on PlayStation this whole time. If it was like desperate times, desperate measures, a Demon's Souls port, I bet you to PC would have sold a couple million copies.
It was on the Nvidia leak list too.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here like, man, that would have probably floated Bluepoint for a bit if they ported the game to PC with Nixes, and it would have been a cheaper port, and they probably would have made, you know, hundreds some odd $1 million gross off of it. It's like that wasn't in the cards at all, just to get them by for a little bit. I mean, we had Ben do Days Gone remastered.
Yeah.
That apparently was the reason they were able to stick around. That's why it's confusing because we don't have the information of this last year, I guess, between the God of War live service cancellation and Bluepoint shutdown. But it's hard for me to look at Bluepoint and go, okay, they released, if you look at the years leading up to them being purchased by Sony, there was 14 years from 2006 to 2020, and they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game releases. And yeah, I mean, Blast Factor is the only game they did that was original, but the others were all them working like they would normally with a Sony, for example, where Sony contracts out to them, they court them for a decade plus, and then eventually they bring them in. And once they were brought in by Sony, they never released another game. That was it. Mm-hmm. They ran support on Ragnarok, but that's all.
Yeah. And they were a long-standing partner. They were like a great acquisition target. I pictured a world where under Sony's ownership, they would have flourished and grew and did bigger and better things. And I think it's tragic that nothing happened. Nothing happened.
When we first saw that acquisition, though, did we not all think, before we saw anyone say anything, did we not think they're going to just start remaking a bunch of games from Sony's past?
Well, I didn't, because we got an article immediately telling us otherwise.
I mean, when you first saw that acquisition, before they started talking, like when it first popped up.
Well, what's funny about that is that, do you remember the Japanese PlayStation account leaked the acquisition?
They did.
Like 6 months ahead of time.
Yeah. That's what I mean. When you saw that, you were like, ooh, if they got purchased by Sony, they would just dive into the archives.
Yeah, no, I definitely, that would have been the line. That was my line of thinking for sure back then. Just that like once it was finally confirmed and we like got the language of like, oh, here's what they're going to be doing. I was personally fine with that because I think that's kind of what you do if you're going to sell to SIE, is this promise of like you're going to grow and be better and like have financial backing, especially in this environment. It's been
Yeah.
another fascinating like speculation topic of if they didn't sell to PlayStation, where would they be now? And
a lot.
well,
They'd be doing pretty well, I assume.
I mean, you would think, but John,
Yeah.
this market is tough, dude. Like,
But yeah,
they probably felt pressured to sell to somebody. So
that's true.
if it wasn't SIE, Embracer might have got them. The PIF might have got them. If they were looking to sell, they must have had a reason to sell.
Yeah,
That's the other thing. They must have had a reason to sell because they were possibly concerned about cash flow, or maybe like the offer was quite generous. I mean, obviously we don't know, but I mean, I would be a little bit. I wouldn't be so quick to say they'd be thriving. I think it'd be just as maybe cutthroat as it would have been somewhere else.
If they were acquired by somebody else, sure. But if they were acquired by somebody else, I don't know if they would be doing a live service game, to be honest.
Oh, that is true.
I think they just happened to fall into Sony's grasp as they were making this live service push, and they just looked at it and said, we'll get a green light if we say live service. And we'll definitely get a green light if we say God of War. So it's unfortunate, but like, let's say there was a world where they didn't get acquired by anyone at that time. I think with how many remasters and remakes we see popping up currently, they would be people. I think they have their door getting beaten down right now with companies ask, like, dude, look at Konami. They're just licensing to anybody. Well, maybe not. Like a lot of people, right? They would have been They might have remake Metal Gear Solid 1.
That's a great point. I think it would. It depending on how Bluepoint's leadership would have navigated it. If they wanted that to like be their model, like indefinitely, of like we'll do remakes and remasters, and yeah, they probably. I have no doubt they probably could have had a bright future.
They came off of Demon Souls though, like that was a. I know there are people in the super deep in the Demon Souls community who are like, well, they messed this part up and this part up. Dude, you know how hard that game is to remake? That is a tough game to remake. And I would say, all things considered, they did a pretty good job on it. And that was certainly enough for the portfolio, I think, for many companies to look at them and go, can we contract out to and get this game remade or that game or this franchise brought back? Is it possible? So I think there was a lot of work on the table if they wanted it. But hey, they rolled the dice with Sony, which shouldn't have necessarily been rolling the dice, but the live service push, man, what can you do?
It just sucks because it shouldn't have been a rolling the dice thing. Like it was like the most natural sort of merger you could expect out of PlayStation and that studio. Absolute shame that's how it went down.
What do you think if they were bought in 2018? 2017, 2018. You know, I was at like that mid PS4 generation. If they were bought there. What do you think they would have done?
I think they probably, well, that's the thing. I mean, definitely leadership at that point. Well, after that was heavily incentivizing live service.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would have to imagine under like more of a Shuhei leadership, they would have been able to do something similar to a Demon Souls. If they wanted to. The only language we have is the head saying we want to like do creative new stuff.
Yeah.
I only have that to go off of. I can't assume they want it to keep doing remakes and remasters.
You know what we need? And I know there's like a whole thing going on right now, and people are, I will tell you this, Ryan, to my understanding, okay, the word is Bloodborne was pitched. But
I don't think it was though.
Okay. I think there is some truth to Bloodborne being pitched at one point.
Why do you think so?
I think there are reports. I think there's people investigating this more, and I think there's going to be more information coming out at some point. But to my understanding, I want to know what the other pitch is, because I think Bloodborne was kind of a given. Like, if you're coming off of Demon Souls, and sure, maybe they were going right into God of War, but the logical thought process would be, well, can we do Bloodborne? I mean, we did Demon Souls. There's a ton of money to be made there. The problem with Bloodborne is I think there's something holding it up with FromSoft, or there's something happening there. to where it's not happening, because it makes so much sense to do that. It's just it's like stupid money.
Yeah, well, that's why I think the whole Bloodborne thing, like, I don't know, it's such easy money. How have they not done it just yet? Like,
Right.
I think there's something holding it up. Like,
Yeah.
yes, like Sony on paper owns the IP. The only thing we have is Shuhei Yoshida personally saying, speculation on his part, is that they're respecting the IP, that particular game with From Software. As in, if From can't work on it, they want to respect, the source material and everything. And that's still speculation on his part. So that's not Shuhei Yoshida confirming that. But it's like the only thing that makes the most sense to me, because otherwise they should be doing it. But do I not recall Jason Schreier shooting that down, saying no, Bloodborne was not pitched?
No, he says he's not shooting that down.
When did he confirm that?
It's I have it's on Reset Era. He's like, I'm not saying that Bloodborne didn't get pitched.
Oh, I thought he said he was saying it did not get pitched.
No, he's saying, hold on, I have it here. There it is. I'll put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
Here it says, this is on Reset Era. It says, hold on, I didn't deny that Bluepoint pitched Bloodborne. I denied that specific tweet, which was saying something about how they were in the middle of making Bloodborne until Sony forced them to stop free games as a service.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just to acknowledge that there was like a report. I think it's a pretty dubious source, considering a handful of people are saying like, I don't pay attention to that just yet. So that's sort of what I'm waiting for, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is like,
I think Schreier's looking into it.
I'm sure he is. Yeah. I mean, and the thing that's dubious about that report that we got out is that it's way too specific.
There's a lot of info in there.
Yeah, that's like stuff you don't get shit like that. Like there's NDAs. Like you're gonna like that telegraphs way too obviously like who you spoke to, and it's very dubious sourcing, I would say. Either way, I would probably wait for somebody like Schreier.
Yeah, I think he's looking into it, but I'd like to know the projects that Bluepoint pitched that Sony turned down. So I think that would tell us a lot about where Sony is right now.
Mm-hmm.
As if
we've
talked about remakes like Infamous and stuff. Maybe that's Sucker Punch doesn't want to give that up or something. But like, did they go Legend of Dragoon? Let's remake that. And Sony's like, no, are you insane? Like, if that's the case, then I do question, I don't know, Sony about taking risky or any kind of risk at all, actually.
I mean, I will. The only thing about that report is that it read, there was parts of it that sounded believable on paper. Like I'm sure there very likely could have been a sort of this pitch down, this pitch rejected, this, and maybe they were thinking about going. We don't know.
Right.
Maybe they were thinking about going back to remakes. But PlayStation's in a very, sort of, like, I like to call it cutthroat, because that's obviously what it is as a result of this closure.
Yeah.
Is that they must have felt like a remake isn't going to make enough. You guys are too costly. We don't believe in this. Let's say remaking this game, like that would be too much of a struggle. I mean, I actually heard that Herman Hulst, when he got the head of PS Studios job, and this was when PlayStation Visual Arts was like internally trying to like make their own thing, and they were making an Uncharted remake.
That's
and
right.
Herman Hulst looked at that and said, like, that's going to be too costly. That game's a little bit too old. Like, let's try something more recent, which turned into Last of Us. But then that game went to Naughty Dog.
Dude,
so things do move around. Like, projects do. Actually, you also might remember, John, that we had heard Ben Studio was assigned an Uncharted game.
Yeah.
But this is part of what I always say about the whole they're not necessarily assigned thing, because even if that might have happened, they're not making Uncharted. The studios, like, there is a feedback loop of the studios can say no to things.
Right.
They don't have, yeah. So it's definitely a very complicated gray area of the actual relationship and how things were pitched and how they were told to do things.
First of all, insane. We should get that Uncharted 1 remake. I mean, I'm sorry. We did that. Have you played? You've played that game. in the last year or two or whatever. It could use a remake. I think so. But the thing that gets me is, if you think about it that way, let's just say Herman Hulst was like, hey, look, we're going to deny these pitches. Here's 3 games that we would greenlight if you guys are good with it. And they list them out. Am I then to believe that Bluepoint goes, no, close us? I mean, is that the belief that we have right now?
I thought, well, that's why I wouldn't put like, I don't want to blame Bluepoint or put like accountability on them. Maybe they made some poor decisions, but otherwise it's still, there's a very clear dynamic here. Like dad's got money and somebody has to ask for money.
I mean, unless there was like some like just really bad stuff in that, like that would just be mind numbing for 5 years of you working on it. There had to have been something in there, you assume, or maybe, you know what? I thought about this too. Who bought Bluepoint?
Who bought Bluepoint?
I mean, who was in charge when Bluepoint got purchased?
When they got purchased, 2021.
Yeah,
Herman Hulst.
Well, I mean, Jim Ryan was there too.
Oh, well, Jim Ryan.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Jim Ryan. I mean, there are people above him, obviously, he has to get approved from. But I almost wonder if that was a Jim Ryan purchase. And he's like, we're going to make this work. And then 2024, he's retires, obviously. Might not necessarily align with Herman Hulst's vision. And maybe he wasn't like, oh, yeah, we got it. We need to keep Bluepoint. It's like, well, you know, they're doing this. They're working on it. Okay, it didn't work out. Let's see what they have. Nothing. Okay. That's it. I mean, that's what I mean. It's like leadership changes do make impacts, and I kind of wonder if this was a Jim Ryan purchase that he didn't stick around to help see through necessarily because he retired.
Well, I mean, it made sense at the time.
Oh no, it did. I mean, I thought we all looked at it and said, yeah, this is how Sony typically would acquire studio. It makes sense.
Yeah. No, the whole thing just went tits up.
Sometimes you get an Insomniac purchase. Sometimes you get a Bluepoint purchase, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
We'll give it time. Hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about exactly what possibly happened.
Do you think there's any way that Bluepoint reforms?
Hey, that's not uncommon of a thing. I mean, like a lot of former staff like make their own studio. Yeah, maybe.
It was interesting because Toys for Bob bought their independence or spun off of basically from Microsoft. Mm-hmm. A little surprised there wasn't anything being floated about that. Like, can we spin off and basically repurchase our independence?
I'm fairly certain like this blindsided most of them when the announcement happened.
Right.
So I'm not sure there was even like a negotiation period for that to even take place. That would also be like unprecedented. PlayStation typically doesn't do anything like that. There's been a handful of cases where like they'll sell back an IP,
right?
Like with Dylan Job and that Tomorrow Children game. Like, so it happens every so often, but like generally speaking, that shit just doesn't go down normally.
Well, it's not like Bluepoint has any IPs that are Blast Factor, I guess, or whatever. Like they don't have any IPs that are
right
that they showed up with or anything. It's more just the technical side. So even if they couldn't buy back their independence, they could probably find a investor of some kind and just reform anyway.
They definitely could. I mean, John, that happened in London Studio.
That's true.
London Studio reformed, and a miraculous. That is actually a more recent example, because Asahi very clearly, like when they canceled their live service game and shut them down, they actually said you can keep that material, because they made a new studio and announced Castouts, which is a high fantasy.
It looks very similar.
That is the game they were making. Yeah. Asahi let them have it.
But we looked at it and we went, okay, I get that one, Sony. I understand. I mean, kind of everyone kind of did. They're like, all right, Herman, you got that one. Okay, that's fine.
Yep. So I mean, it does happen. So I mean, Bluepoint very, very possibly could have done that.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious, because they shut down officially in March next month, right? So there's still time. I don't know. Maybe they can pull some strings and Tencent comes in.
Well, that's the like, you want to go to get Tencent funding? I don't know. Like that's the problem. Like the well dried up. Like a lot of VCs, like these angel investors, and then you're like the PIF and Tencent. Like a lot of it has dried up. There, it's the money's still out there, but I think it's harder to get.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hey, maybe they can do that, and then contract with Sony and remake Legend of Dragon for everyone.
Oh, thank you, Radek. Yeah, I said the wrong person. Dylan Cuthbert's like from Pixel Junk and shit. Dylan Job was Warhawk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
got it.
Good catch there. I get my Dylans mixed up apparently. All right, well, with the Bluepoint news out of the way, yeah, we had another big story that broke out today, so it's pretty relevant to the whole possible PC thing, basically. So why don't we just touch on that, shall we? Where is this news that I wrote down? Okay, here it is. Recently, both John Linneman and Jason Schreier, so from Digital Foundry and then Bloomberg, respectively,
And Nate the Eight.
And yeah, so on their podcast, they were mentioning that they feel Sony is pulling back a bit on their single-player PC games. Jason, for example, when he was speaking on the Triple Click podcast, he said he wouldn't be surprised if Wolverine doesn't come to PC. He said straight up that, yeah, he thinks Sony's going to be stopping big PS Studio single-player games going to PC. He clarified further on the recent Air thread, saying, quote, it's not speculation. Sometimes topics come up on the show before I'm quite ready to publish a story about them. More to come soon. Thanks for listening to Triple Click. So it sounds like there's genuine like things going on behind the scenes where Sony is pulling back on the PC stuff.
Yeah, that's funny because it seemed like they were accelerating, because we were it was one thing when they just made the announcement off of a state of play. We just started seeing these PC ports get announced in state of plays. Like they were trying to position PC next to PlayStation. And now all of a sudden they're having second thoughts about this. And people are trying to figure out why exactly. So we had a breakdown, I think, of revenue at one point. People started putting together how much money they've made from these PC ports. And then they line it up next to Sony's total revenue, and it was like 1.5% or something like that.
Yeah. It's a separate line item now from the last financial report. So they've told us exactly now what they make from non-PlayStation console games.
And is that also live service games involved with that too?
I would assume so. Yeah, it should be. I mean, that number, like it's like the 1.5 billion or something since 2022, like the first PC game. I'd imagine most of that money is basically PC stuff because they've got like one Switch. Yeah, they've got Switch games, at least with MLB.
Baseball. Yeah.
Yep, you got it. Horizon probably didn't do much of anything. And then Helldivers 2 for Xbox was probably pretty substantial. But otherwise, I'd imagine like $1 billion something is just PC stuff.
But like a lot of that still is probably Helldivers 2.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Helldivers 2 is probably like a substantial portion of that revenue.
So if we're to believe that a lot of that, we'll say a large portion is Helldivers 2, then how much are the single players really doing for them? Like, that's the question. Is it generating the kind of revenue they were expecting? So there's expectations. They're basically running what's probably a research experiment. Like, what happens if we do put some of these older titles on PC? How do they respond? And they've been tracking for years, I'm sure, just seeing where they are with it. I kind of wonder if it just isn't getting to the point they wanted to. Like, it's not building necessarily. They had to push back over because I do think part of the plan was we're going to get people on PlayStation Network one way or the other. They're going to sign in to use it on PC. And that was a whole thing, whole blowback on that. And because they even tried to tie trophies and stuff that way to get people on board. And we even saw the whole thing about there potentially being a PC launcher. And nothing's really materialized out of that. Had the cross-buy buttons pop up, but nothing there really either. And they lose 30% on Steam. You know, there's a lot of things working against them doing it, and I think they would have had to have crazy numbers. So this actually doesn't surprise me that much for single player. Live service, it's still going to be PC and PlayStation. You might occasionally see Xbox, then, although they might not have to because the next gen Xbox might just be PC anyway. So it's like, unless Microsoft wants to give them a favorable cut for the storefront. So Steam might be 30 and Microsoft might go, we'll do 12% or something. Like, okay, well, yeah, the 12% of microtransactions, the whole thing. Yeah, okay, we'll do a little Xbox Magnus, whatever version of this thing. But I think that's where they'll mostly be doing multi-plat or live service. And, you know, I was thinking about this a bit, Ryan, going into the PS6. They are going to have to figure out how to sell the PS6 away from the PS5, like get people to make the jump. And it could be the most expensive system they've ever sold, you know, with the PS6. It's very likely that's on the table. And I mean, the tried and true method to get people to a console are games you can't play anywhere else, single player games like these. And I think that's what's happening. They're like, ooh, let's turn the ship. It's going to take a little bit to turn the ship around, just a bit. But let's get that started now before the PS6 releases. So, yeah, I do believe this. And I think they're going to just go back to like Wolverine. That was also brought up. I'm kind of thinking that's not going to PC ever.
Wow. See, I was surprised by this. It's maybe not super surprised. It's weird. Like the money they make definitely is inconsequential in the grand scheme of like the whole organization. The point I always make is that like individual games have P&L statements. So it's you can't necessarily just say, oh, it's only $1 billion and they make how much every quarter. Like each game like they have their own profit loss. So that extra 5-10% is pretty, I would say pretty substantial for what is like, dude, these single player games are expensive, like 9 figures to make. So like, that's like the sort of like rationalization of it, but it does. Yeah. The other side of it is 100% true in that the novelty is like totally worn off on these games. Like the recent single player games on like we don't have numbers, but I mean like CCU counts as bad as it's like hard to look at. You can still see a very obvious downward trend. Like people are just not buying these games en masse. I mean, I would almost think that their logic was we'll sell like 10+ million on console because that's usually what these things can do. And maybe their line of thinking was we'll do another 10 on PC. And really they're finding out that they're like barely doing 500,000. So, I mean, maybe their line of thinking at like, why even bother? But like, then the other aspect is, well, porting costs surely are like so low that you're still making money. I would have thought for sure like they'd keep doing it because like the other thing too is that this has not impeded on the console business. People like don't like hearing that, but I'm not lying. Like we can see the console business. They've never been healthier.
Yes, but here's the thing though, Ryan. Right now, yes, I'm thinking 7 or 8 years in the future when they have to then show us that chart again, but there's going to be a PS6 next to this PS5 chart that looks incredible. Mm-hmm. And in their mind, they might be thinking, oh, we're going to have to try to top the PS5 with the PS6 somehow. And we've talked about this many times. Half the revenue for PlayStation right now are these live service Fortnites and stuff that aren't games that aren't theirs, but because they're the default console that has accrued nearly at this time 100 million consoles sold, and then you add in like the PS4 users are still 130 some odd million active users or something, right? Because they've accrued that many people from being the default console, they make a stupid amount of money from those games that they don't own. So because of that, they kind of have to keep the train rolling. They got to figure out, okay, we got to sell PS6 systems. We got to get people on board. And even when they get to the PS6 here, they're probably still trying to pull people off that PS4 with the PS5 that they may want to think about doing another slim revision of or something to make it a bit cheaper and get the whole price tag down for that. That's a whole other thing though. But I'm just thinking in their mind, they're going, it might not be worth it for us with the amount of money we're bringing in on the PC side to take some emphasis off the console, because we need consoles out there. We still need to focus on this thing because we collect so much money off of these microtransactions. And really, who knows when the wheels fall off the live service sector, but it hasn't yet. It's still going. Eventually, I assume the people who have been playing Fortnite this whole time and stuff get older, get busier, kids, whatever, the daily slog of the work life, and they can't play as much. And maybe that's when things slow down for them. But man, Fortnite's been rolling since what, 2018 now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a solid 7 years, I think. And it's still going. So that's kind of my read on it, is they realize that they need to have a bit more than ever, especially with a pretty expensive PS6, I assume, coming in, emphasis on the console. Also, what do you think about Microsoft coming in with a system that may play any of these PC games that Sony puts out?
Well, I mean, just to dial back a little bit. So would your logic there be that, because with that line of thinking, wouldn't that imply that they actually should just be like strictly doing PS6 exclusivity? Because like,
I assume they're going to have a couple games like how we had Demon Souls on the PS5. I
Right.
assume they're going to have a couple games that show up that are just PS6.
Well, that's like the silly thing though, is that they clearly would not even have to do that. As far as, like, oh, it's only possible on we know that, the games could be on PS5 all day, every day. But just by that logic, I feel like not having the game on PS5 is the more cyclical logic than not having a PC version, when the very context is they're barely even moving PC versions anyway. Like if it's so inconsequential, like it sounds like the more important thing to get PS6 adoption going is not having PS5 versions of any like future games.
Well, I think they're still going to have cross-gen, but I think they're just going to keep it off of PC and anything going forward just for that console focus. But live service, that's PC.
Yeah.
Well,
and that should be too.
The thing with the PS6 though that's so interesting is I'm wondering, so you know how we have this whole DRAM squeeze right now, video cards that are being planned out don't have, I mean, we're seeing the Steam machines coming in here soon, we figure. Definitely by the end of this year, right? Definitely by the end of this year it'll come out.
But it's supposed to be.
Yeah. But like 8 gigabytes of VRAM, people are already back and forth on that. These video cards are I think are going to start showing up with less VRAM than expected. And the word is this PS6 is going to have 30 gigabytes of RAM. And we'll put the price aside for a second. They're going to develop these games with that much in mind. Some of these PS6 games. So I do think about the porting process to PC when you look at those Steam charts where they have the surveys and they ask them what their video card is. It's not 5090s across the board. It's like mid-tier GPUs at best. I think for the longest time, actually as recent as a couple months ago, it was the GTX 1650 with 4 gigabytes of VRAM or something was the most popular card because they just want to play, Counter-Strike or Dota or something. So I do think about that as well because we bring up the porting costs being somewhat negligible. I don't think it's going to be necessarily that cut and dry for next generation with the PS6 if they are leveraging a substantial amount of high-speed memory, if they are, say, using all these tricks and stuff to recreate the image, as Mark Cerny calmly tells us every 2 months. And I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of specialized stuff in the PS6 that isn't necessarily apparent to us because it's trying to maybe cover up a lower native resolution, but it looks super impressive on screen. And then it's like, do we have that worked into the NVIDIA cards? Do these older AMD cards, can they support that? Like I think there's just a lot of question marks we don't know right now for the PS6 in general.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with most of that, to be honest. It's I don't know. I think there's both directions make a lot of sense. Like if they stop doing the PC stuff tomorrow for single player games, like, okay, well, yeah, it was like not that much money, but it seemed like they were still full steam ahead on it. I just find that I still find that the audiences were different enough. Like the way I always put it was like, these are customers that are like never going to be customers. Cause like, like PC game, like there is a difference. There's not the crossover people think. Like there are PC people that like, they're never going to fucking buy a console ever. It should just be like, all right, well, you're never going to come to us. Let's just make let's just make a software sale there. I mean, I remember, I think it was Herman Hulse that said like, oh, the logic actually is deliver some sequels. And then when the sequel comes out on console, maybe they'll buy a PC. I still can't believe, or buy a PlayStation to play the sequel now that they played it on PC. I still find that's like batshit insane logic because you guys must know that nobody's gonna, like, PC gamers will not buy your console. You guys have to know that.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I'll we'll have Evan talking about PC games, and we'll bring up like a single player game that just went. He's like, yeah, I kind of just want to play a multiplayer game. So I do think on PC it is. If you look at even the Steam charts and stuff, it's generally more multiplayer focused games than anything. For the most part, when you see these big games release, I mean, Arc Raiders is constantly killing it. Counter-Strike 2 or Dota, it's like PUBG. Those are the ones that get the majority of the traffic and the majority of the sales. The single player stuff, I'm not saying it doesn't do well. There are games that come out that people really like and pull big numbers, but they don't stick around in like the top 10 most times. I bet you if I pull up the top 10 for SteamDB right now as to what people are playing, it's Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, Arc Raiders, PUBG, the Marathon Server Slam, whatever Bongo Cat is, 5M, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, Deadlock, Rainbow Six Siege, Rust, Helldivers 2, Mugenics. Hey, Mugenics.
I was actually waiting for you to say
them.
Mugenics, but you caught me off guard with whatever the bongo thing.
And then Wallpaper Engine.
Oh, of course, Wallpaper Engine, yeah.
But like it's 90% multiplayer stuff, you know? So that would make sense that Sony goes, okay, the live service, we have to make sure we are there on PC day one whenever we attempt this stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I just always boiled it down to like, for individual games, it always felt important that they get that extra 5-10%. Like that's like the other conversation we keep having is that these single player games are 9-figure budgets and they're like getting unsustainable. Like, okay, so an extra like 5-10% of revenue, maybe that doesn't sound like much for like the individual title, not saying the 1% for the whole organization, but if you chop up the money and a PC game sells 500,000 units, like, sure, that's not a scratch to the 10 million they sold on console, but it's still like it goes quite a bit just to like make the numbers work for those games. That's what's surprising to me. Like, for example, with Wolverine saying like that'll never come to PC, I find that surprising because like that's a Marvel property. We know the licensing costs deeply eat into the numbers for that game.
Is there a negotiation though if you want to put it on another platform like PC?
Well, surely it's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, like is there just do they then have to pay more into licensing to also put it on PC then?
I don't know if it would be like platform specific. It might just be unit, like however many units, no matter where you put it. I don't know.
There's also the level of control that, let's be real, these companies have over having it on a closed console than putting it on an open platform like PC. I'm sure they know. There's a lot of sailing the seas and modding and all kinds of stuff that happens on PC that some of these companies just aren't comfortable with. And we see it. Like, I think Capcom has mentioned it before. They're not thrilled with the idea of mods for their games. And so it's not like Sony would be alone in that, but it's not these companies aren't necessarily open to a lot of that. And even some actors or actresses who have their likeness in the games also aren't open to it. So yeah, there were stories about agencies who were not having it with some of these games going to PC because of that possibility. I've learned what Bongo Cat is, by the way. I looked it up, and apparently what happened, it's a free-to-play game on Steam that you leave open, and as you work or do whatever on your PC, the Bongo Cat will just hit the taskbar, and you earn hats for them as you go.
Okay.
It's free, though. It's free.
Sure.
That's what it is. This is PC gaming.
Oh, you know what though? Just to acknowledge like your previous question, maybe there is a truth to that with Microsoft's and Xbox. Remember I was saying like when that news, like this was a while ago on Click R3, but it's like if Sony wants to make money from PC releases, like you better do it like soon. Yep. Because then another Xbox, like the next Xbox, might just launch these games, or rather, the Helldivers 2 story. Excuse me, like sell a native Xbox version of that game. Yep. Otherwise, the next Xbox is just going to launch the PC version of it. Maybe, I mean, yeah, for all we know, maybe they're still deeply concerned with what was previously their closest competitor, which the whole shitstorm going on over there. We'll probably at least briefly mention it in passing later, but
yeah, but they knew what they had with. Mostly because they have experience. Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and Sarah Bond. Now I'm almost one if they're looking at like we don't know what's about to happen over there now.
I know, yeah.
You know,
I was saving that for later, but yeah. So maybe that's also their attitude too, of like this 1% of revenue, like it's just not like we would want to really control the messaging, and we'll make sure that these games are strictly console.
Do you do something with the marketing here? Is that you think?
Go back to like only on PlayStation?
Only on PlayStation, yeah.
Hey, maybe. I mean, so like the other thing I was thinking of too, I'm like, okay, so for example, Herman Hulse, people like don't like him, like let's get him out of here, get him fired. The thing is, you get rid of him, the whoever the new guy is, shit ain't gonna change for years because it takes so long to make games.
That'll be a bit.
But this is like a short-term thing. Maybe this is Hideaki Nishino. Because now he's the CEO of the Platform Business Group and the entire organization. This could be like one of his first, like, orders of like, we're changing course on this, because like PC ports aren't, those definitely can't come out a lot sooner. So like maybe it's a directive from him.
He did make that PlayStation 5, that cheaper model, appear pretty quick for Japan. I will give him that.
Yeah, he seems a much more like, because he's also, you got to bear in mind, like Jim Ryan was a very businessy marketing guy. He made PlayStation the powerhouse that it is in Europe. Hideaki Nishino was like working corporate for Sony Japan and the hardware team. Like he's deeply like a very Japanese, culturally brought up man, and he might have a different line of thinking.
You think he might have that Nintendo line in him? He might be thinking like that.
Well, I think he like that was specifically what he was pointing out, is like that man has probably seen, because he's been with PlayStation for a long time, since the PS2 days, but he's seen like culturally at home that shift of like, man, we used to have PSPs on the train every morning, and now we're not, we're old news.
You see the Switch and Switch 2 and stuff. And
yeah, he might be motivated to like, let's get a handheld out there. Let's take a page out of their Nintendo's playbook, a Japanese only PS5, and let's double down only on PlayStation. Maybe it's him.
Hey, if he's the one who brings us the handheld, I'm with it.
Yeah, I need
that I need that Sony handheld. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Well, we did touch on this game. That was surprising news. Wolverine got a release date.
Yeah, that was weird, right? It wasn't just me. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
So 3 days of social media silence. Yep. Tuesday comes along. Boom, game's coming out September 15th.
You think they were like, we got to figure something out here. We were going to announce that. Well, yeah, we're going to announce that in a month or two. Yeah, go ahead, just announce it.
I don't know if there's anything to that, but it does strike me as very unusual, because that's a high profile game, and they almost always, I can't remember otherwise, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain every high profile game, like they get release date trailers. They might not necessarily be at State of Plays, right, or Jeff Keighley shows, but like they get like release date trailers. And so for this to just like on a Tuesday get a date, that definitely struck me as weird.
The timing is suspect. Yes.
It's weird.
Yeah. But September 15th, that's good. That's not that far out. We're 6.5 months away.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of the safe, like what, September, October, we were all kind of feeling like it's
before GTA 6. Yeah. Yes. Let's just get it out before GTA 6 will be good. And that's what they're doing. So good stuff. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited to see more about it though. And we got to wait till the spring for what I assume is going to be a Wolverine State of Play.
Well, yeah, I mean, either that or like it gets like an extended like deep dive towards the end of a State of Play. If we get like another 40-something minute State of Play, like it's the last 10 minutes or something.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed if they were like, hey, Wolverine State of Play, here we go, 20 minutes or so, and we'll just sit down and show you the game.
It's weird how they decide when to do that and when not to do it.
That's true, because they've done it for Borderlands before.
Well, that might be like a third-party obligation thing, but like Yotei got a pretty long,
Yeah.
It's.
I think people are really curious, though. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wolverine has a lot of potential, and also giving it that 2-month buffer between it and Grand Theft Auto 6, it should do well for the holiday season. I think so.
Mm-hmm. I would have agreed, like, give it a 2-month buffer. Give this thing some room.
Yeah, as much as you can, because once GTA 6 comes out, man, it's gonna be hard to do a lot on the PlayStation or even the Xbox, right? Like you could do stuff on the Switch too, but just that storefront is just going to be crushed for GTA 6.
Well, and you want to give it room away from Saros, April 30th.
That too. Yes. And then Marvel Tokon is out the month before, August.
Yeah, August 6th. Marathon soon. Kana, that's a PS Studios game we know.
That's got to be like, I'm kind of thinking that I was going to say August.
Summer game.
So, okay, so maybe July?
Summer game, it gets delayed into Q1 2027.
Okay. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Maybe that's what happens with the game.
It's tough. I'm worried that's an October game. And I say worried because that's going to be crowded. Because I think a lot of companies, a lot of studios are going to try to fit their games into September and October to beat GTA 6 to market. And it's going to be, I think we're going to get to October and we're going to look at the calendar and be like, oh my gosh, there's 3 games out this week, 2 games out next week, 3 games out the week after. I think it's going to kind of be like that.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah. And then everyone will drop everything for GTA 6 anyway.
Before we get going, we got some chats you might want to check in on us for us.
I will get them. Bespoke says, why would they pitch a game that they didn't really want to make just to get in greenlit? If they had a good single player game to pitch, it wouldn't have been turned down. Housemarque didn't pitch live service.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is these are people, like they want jobs, you know. It's hard, like it's hard to say because like sometimes the culture that they found themselves in, maybe they might have felt pressured to pitch that. We still don't have the full story, but
when did Returnal get pitched though?
When did Returnal get pitched? I don't know.
Came out in 21.
Yeah, it came out in 21. I mean, they spent I think they came in like a 3-4 year dev cycle. It wasn't long.
Before the live service initiative though. And that was an original game from Housemarque. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's like that was like a success story too. Like that's what makes Bluepoint so much more tragic is that we know PlayStation, that's what should have happened. Housemarque famously almost fucking went to live service actually. Like they made a whole blog post, arcade is dead, our twin stick bullet hell shoot, like these games don't sell anymore. They were making, I think, 2 live service games. So they actually almost did go down that path, but they got bought by Sony and they were able to do a Returnal. Like Bluepoint should have been that, man. That's what sucks about Bluepoint.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. If they were pitching a game around the time like that in that time period with Returnal where it wasn't quite almost all in on live service stuff with Sony, man, I think there would have been something there for Bluepoint. It was like wrong place, wrong time for them, man.
Wrong everything.
That's a shame. It really is because they were very, very good from the technical side. I mean, everything they did, like all their projects, if you look at them, like Titanfall on the 360, it sounds funny because it's like that game probably doesn't look very good or it doesn't run great. The fact that it was on there is insane. I can't believe that was even, dude, the 360 had 512 megabytes of RAM and they made it work. It's crazy to me that was a thing. And then you look at all the collections they did and look, remakes for certain properties are not easy because there is an entire fan base that is ready to destroy you over it. And some of the stuff they did, looking up and down I mean, dude, Shadow of the Colossus, still like such an awesome remake that they did. And I guess it didn't make a ton of money, but it was a really well done release. And you can look at it as a way of preserving the game even.
Well, that's the other part people don't like hearing. Like the other Ocean, fucking Sir Dan Fortescue. Why can't I remember that? Medieval, Jesus Christ. Medieval remake didn't light the world on fire. Shadow, didn't go crazy for sales. So I mean, that's why I hate saying that. Sometimes there's a cutthroat angle. Same with Japan Studio.
Right.
Sometimes the games don't make money.
No, but sometimes games that don't necessarily make money outright do still sell systems. And your business is selling systems. We got to sell some systems. So how do we do it? Only on PlayStation. Shadow of the Colossus Definitive Edition with the cut bosses in there.
That would have been sick.
That actually would have been cool.
I mean, that's like that read like a wish list almost, but I
know. That's the thing with the pitch. I want to see if like Schreier comes up with his report, if he names a couple of pitch projects or something, and maybe they line up, maybe they don't. I'm legitimately just curious what they were throwing at the wall to see what they could get to stick with Sony. That's all. Oh, hey, John, Ryan, and I need a third for GTA 4 news. Nor fair.
Okay. Let's play February 29th at 3 p.m. EST. I'll see you there.
Okay, there you go. Put it on the calendar. He draws like the 29th on his calendar, right? So he's like, finally. Matt Sanders says, I bet you can't wait to see the news that Herman gets his cookie, John.
Let's get the cookies going. Let's go.
Dude, people are
shortbread.
People are ready to fire Herman Holst now, like immediately. Dude, social media was after that guy.
Yeah. People are, well, fans are pissed. Rightfully so.
No one was mad when Firewall got closed down.
Jesus Christ, John.
I mean, no one was. That's the thing. It's he probably closed out Bluepoint. He must have known it was not going to go well, right?
The guy's not dumb. He might make dumb decisions, but he's also not dumb.
He must have known, right?
Yeah. You would think.
Bespoke says Moore's Law is dead. Speculated that the PS6 will be able to do an RTX remix thing, almost like an auto remaster. Maybe Sony got it working and made the call to Double H. Auto remaster would be interesting. Like the ray trace remix. I mean,
this sounds like more fairy tale stuff to me, but
I still think you would want a studio to use. They maybe use a tool like that for Sony with, I'm sure how they're trying to position that. I mean, I say that, but Sons of Sparta came up, but like the PlayStation studios, seal of quality being super, super high end stuff. And they probably still want a studio to look over it, but tools like those that could maybe cut a remake project from 5 years to 3 years would be incredibly valuable. So yes, I think that's still the biggest thing they need to overcome. How do we make some of these games in 2 less years than we do now? You know, how do we start cutting this dev time down a bit so we can get more than one game, maybe a generation from our big studios? Cole says they announced Ragnarok and Yote dates the same way.
Okay, so that's why I said, like, if I am misremembering, please let me know.
They closed the studio and then announced the date.
Oh, I don't know if they closed the studio.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't remember they would just like tweet out dates for those games, but I'm not perfect over here.
Millions of impressions though, so the word got out. The Wolverine's coming out September 15th.
That post got like 60,000 likes. It was crazy.
Yeah. Claw says, what do you think happens with Sony's push into China and Korea considering their PC dominance? Will second-party studios still be allowed to make PC ports?
This is a good question. I would think they're happy doing more things like Stellar Blade, which is like they're really comfy with like a lot of these Chinese studios, and I think the read here is like just do more of that, because obviously those games appeal very widely to like a Chinese audience or a Korean audience. So I don't know if it doesn't necessarily have to be the first party teams. I think you just keep doing more of what you've been doing, like find a Stellar Blade, find a Black Myth, and take your PC or your PS5 console exclusivity, which Sony has been happy with this whole generation. Basically, I think you just keep doing that.
Yeah. Frank says Herman False and Jim Lyon. I like the nicknames people got for him now. I will be calling all their live service games Concord from now on. I don't care. Also, I got my invite for Hunter's Gathering. Oh, cool. Oh. I didn't sign up because I was going to play Marathon this weekend, but I'm looking forward to people's impressions on the game to see how it turned out. I don't know. Radic might have got in. I'm not sure. I think he signed up too, though.
I mean, if you're I'm fairly certain you don't have to do an extra sign up. Like if you sign up for PlayStation betas, like you should like qualify for it, but I think it's a very small play test. I'm not seeing many people get in.
Bespoke says, how can we know that if someone replaces Herman that they won't go to double down on live service? People always want to focus on the bad and overlook the good. Astrobot, Fizzant, Saros, Wolverine, all Herman Holst.
Yeah, it's like the other tough part that people don't want to hear. I brought this up in my Tuesday conversation about like, should we fire Herman Holst, or is PlayStation happy with him? And like the thing people we have to confront, like there are good decisions. So like Astrobot was made in 3 years and was critically acclaimed.
Good decision. Very good.
And SIE deeply cares about the critical reception of their games. Saros, Fizzant, well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just that's the thing, is that there's so much bad and so much good. I'm not sure if SIE is like actually happy with them, but that's the main point I was making, is that you get rid of Herman tomorrow, the next guy is probably still going to do live service because they have a responsibility to shareholders. Like, I think we all get it. Like half of their revenue is live service. Like nobody can come in and say we're not doing it, because like the board will be pissed, shareholders will be pissed. Like they have a duty to do it otherwise.
Yes.
It's about how they do it. I think they've learned that, oh shit, this is really hard. And that's why they're like much more deliberate canceling games faster. Like I know you look at the cancellations and go, it's been a shit show. I will make this point all day, every day. Cancel them. If it's not working, cancel them.
Yeah.
Don't spend 7 years making another Concord. So I know canceled games always looks like bad news, and it is, but not as bad as you think.
I think it's just because it was Bluepoint, who has never even made an original game, and somehow they find themselves on a live service God of War. I think that's the thing that still sticks with people, because that's where, if you're Herman Holst, you steer the wheel a little bit, not completely. You don't drive them off the edge, but just a little bit. Hey, let me bring you back into the lane here. Let's do. We don't need live service from you. How about single player in God of War universe? We get you on track. Then you go from, it's almost like you're graduating, right? You're going to go from doing the remakes. Now you're going to do an original game in an already established universe. Then you go on to make new universe IP, the whole thing. That kind of feels like the graduation progress that we would have expected from Sony. I think that's why it's stuck at. It's kind of head scratching. And I think when people on the internet really do believe they could run the studios better, they're obviously, you're going to be questioned then.
John, you're making too much sense.
I'm just saying.
You're making too much sense. That's the problem with you, John.
Yeah, I know. It's a curse. It's a curse. Space says Final Fantasy VII finally done with this trilogy. Hey, we're almost there. Ryan's gonna finish Rebirth, and then we'll get the third game.
I'm making progress on games, man. I finished Sons of Sparta.
I'll give you that. Sons of Sparta, man. That's good.
It's a long game, and now I'm back on my Yote playthrough. And again, my promise is when I'm done with Yote, I'm gonna wrap up Rebirth. After Rebirth, I might do Clair Obscure or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Resident Evil?
I'm not a Resident Evil person.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you got to make room for Saros when that comes out at the end of April.
Well, that's the idea. So that's the idea. I'm making sure that I've got a free runway for that.
Good stuff. Toasty says, Ryan, you don't have kids, but you also didn't complete Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Do you have a hard time finishing?
No comment. What the fuck?
Fire Jones says, what do you want more of, Ape Escape or Sly Cooper?
Oh, I'm more of a Sly Cooper person.
Yeah, I can see that.
Personally,
I think Sly Cooper makes sense for like even a mascot character. Yeah, I think so. Ape Escape's still fun though.
Ape Escape's more of an OG. Like it's got more games, it's got more spin-offs, it's got like Japanese exclusive games. Like I think it actually is more of a PlayStation icon, but I don't know. I think Sly Cooper can sort of transcend it in a different way.
I think so too. And also Sly Cooper would probably work on, like, you assume, although I think it's had issues on like the big screen, or at this point Amazon, Netflix, whoever would want to throw money at it.
Dude, they almost made a show or a movie or whatever the fuck they did.
Yeah.
No, a show and a movie, I think. And there was even a trailer, and it looked like Murray looked cursed.
Well, they would have to actually do it right. They can't just they got Concord the thing.
Yeah, Murray looked twisted. I forget. I think it was called like Rainmaker Studios or somebody was making it. I don't know. It didn't go anywhere. All right, let's get back to some news. Polyphony Digital allegedly, John, they have GT7 running on the Switch too. So Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb recently mentioned on an episode of Game S Mornings Decides that Polyphony got GT7 running on a Switch. He said, like, that's all he said. He doesn't think that means the game's coming to Switch 2, just that, like, they're toying around with it.
Right.
Is the read here not, like, benchmarking it? Because, like, they've got a local play handheld that they probably want to get the game running on.
Yeah, but, I mean, the Switch 2 is just, it's, like, ARM-based. It's going to be different from their PlayStation handheld, but I still think it falls in the category of Polyphony, while they developed the game, Gran Turismo, they're still very involved in the technical stuff as well. People don't, I mean, they've been around so long with PlayStation, and it's very clear they work very, very close with like the hardware side of PlayStation. Like Gran Turismo is being developed alongside of PlayStation, the hardware being developed. So I think this is more or less just research, if it is the case. Like if they actually got somehow, some way, I'm trying to figure out how they would even got a Switch 2 dev kit to run the thing on. But let's say they did. Probably them just playing around. Do you think this thing could run GT7? Let's find out, and then they go from there. Okay, what's it running at? What effects does it have? Because they didn't even do a PC port for the thing. And that seemed obvious the whole time. But maybe that does fall into the category of only on PlayStation for them, Gran Turismo, because it's been with them so long. But I think it's just R&D. Like, we're literally just hearing about something out of the R&D department. And I'm sure there's some weird stuff that happens in the R&D departments that we don't hear about. Games running on piece of hardware you'd never expect. If someday it came out, it wouldn't shock me if Nintendo tried running Mario on a PlayStation at some point in time in the past in their R&D. Like, would this work? Just to see what would happen.
Really?
I wouldn't shock me. I mean, dude, do you remember back in the day we found out Gears of War was running on the PS3?
No, yeah. I mean, you're right. Like, everyone does that. I just think like Nintendo's maybe the one that doesn't do it.
You have how many contractors that you like? You have so many people who are just like, the reason we got Crash Bandicoot, that insane trilogy, on the Switch back in the day when it first released after the others, was because somebody in the office literally just like, I wonder if this will run on the Switch. And they just put it on there and it worked. And they're like, oh, right, I guess I'll show them. Or remember, we found out that Metal Gear Solid 4, there was a Xbox 360 version of the game. No,
I agree. You are right. But I'm saying, I'm surprised. I actually think Nintendo's like the odd sheep here.
The one that's like no.
I feel like they definitely don't do that. Like, culturally, they're very uppity about how they make games, how they make hardware. I don't think they do that. But either way, yeah, to your point, I think they experiment a lot. I mean, I would have thought, like, I mean, this is them experimenting with a low power handheld.
Sure.
Because like the thing with the handheld that Sony's making with this like low power mode that they have now, that's not like the native way you're gonna like. That's more of a sort of in the here and now insurance policy to like bridge that gap of like power and then whatever the SoC efficiency is. But like you can still like natively make a game for this thing. And the read to me is maybe like, oh, let's mess around with the Switch 2, see how it works before we get like a proper dev kit in, because they probably don't have like dev kits for it in yet.
Sure. I mean, the Switch 2 runs 10 watts in handheld mode, and my understanding that the Sony handheld is 15 watts. So it's a good starting point for them to see where they are with the thing. Though, again, the Switch 2 doesn't have analog triggers, so there's, for a series like GT7 and Polyphony Digital, who's very, very serious about the simulation experience, zero chance it would ever run beyond research on a device that doesn't have analog triggers.
Well, that's the point, right? Just to see, like,
yeah, like people were like, "I just coming to the Switch 2." No, they're literally just playing around with power profiles, I'm sure, and this interesting chipset that NVIDIA and Nintendo collaborated on and made.
Yeah. All right, John, in the last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of God of War stuff. A lot of juicy God of War stuff going on. So first, we have a rumor about Cory Barlog's game possibly getting revealed this summer, launching next year. Over on Reset Era on the PS Studios OT, Shinobi 602 was responding to some speculation about Cory's game releasing around 2028. Shinobi responded saying, quote, "Not that far away." And he put in quotations, barring any delays, of course. Nate the Hate on X was discussing it in a thread about the whole thing. He said, unless a major delay happens, the game will be out 2027. You know, both Nate and Shinobi have been very reliable as of late. Tom Henderson on the Insider Gaming podcast was speculating about this game. And then the big leak here is that Christopher Judge, the voice actor for the Norse Kratos, so there was like a convention going on, a panel. He had like a signing booth. The YouTube channel Fuzz, they approached his booth at a convention. This was all filmed. And she was asking about him voicing the remakes. And he said, no, like that's going to be T.C. Carson. But he said it's going to have a new fighting system, which I think is kind of probably not going to happen. But he said, quote, "And you'll probably hear what we're doing probably late summer," unquote, which is a pretty deliberate language. What we're doing late summer. Shortly after that, the following day, Christopher clarified on his personal X account that they have no involvement in the original games, which we expected, but they do still have other projects that they're excited about. More info this summer. I think the cat's out of the bag here. This is similar to Norman Reedus saying like, oh yeah, like there's a second game.
Yeah.
I think he pretty much let it out there that the Cory Barlog game will get revealed this summer.
You think it's a God of War game?
So my prediction is still this is a God of War in-universe game, and Kratos is not the protag. And we've had various other rumors suggesting, and I am inclined to agree, it's not Atreus either.
Right. I've seen that people have shot down the idea of it being an Atreus game. So not a Kratos game, not an Atreus game.
Based on what Christopher's saying, though, he's in it. He is in it. But I am still inclined to say that's what's going on.
Interesting. So I wonder who the main character would be then. Who would they really go towards? What's the other point of view that you'd want to see in the God of War universe?
Well, there's a lot of figures like in God of War lore, you know. So that's where like it's the speculation can run rampant. I don't know, man. I don't know. But all I'm saying is my prediction is in universe.
Sure.
Not Kratos, not Atreus.
Just shooting down the Connecticut possibility.
I'm not saying that. but you know.
They're afraid of risk.
Well, sometimes you gotta play it safe.
They decide to go for the series that sells tens of millions of copies. They can't make Connecticut an in-universe Connecticut game.
Well, what do you think, John?
I do think that's what it is. It's God of War, in-universe God of War game. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be. The fact that Christopher Judge accidentally said that, slipped up, and although there is something to say about the people who are basically walking up to him with a wire on, getting this info from him. I don't know. It is kind of like he's there. He's just hanging out. He's being nice and conversing with people. I mean, there are a lot of people that roll through there, and it's not like a little expo. I don't know. People were bringing that up. It's kind of strange to just be like going up to him, recording them without knowing. And because usually when we're at conventions, people will come up and they'll tell us, they'll be like, hey, I'm recording, just let you know. Or they'll hold the camera up right in front of you, make it really apparent. This was filmed from pretty far away, and it seemed like the microphone was
mic'd up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little suspect there, but either way, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people taking guesses in the like Loki and Thor and Tyr and Artemis. There's Radek. So there's so many guesses that they could do, because the other thing is the game could just work to establish a whole other character that would be viewed as a main character then going forward in the series, which of course leads to marketing for merchandise, a whole other they could probably do a whole series based on this character for Amazon or Max, whatever, right? They could sell it to them. So there's a lot of possibilities to build out that universe doing this. And yeah, I guess you would take Cory Barlog and be like, hey, you want to tell an original story? Kind of like Bluepoint, but we're not going to make it live service. So there you go. I think that's the plan.
Yeah, it fits in this criteria too of not a new IP, but it may feel like one. I think you're going to get a very different kind of God of War game. That's all I will add. However, we did get some pretty juicy like discoveries popping up about the next mainline God of War. So this pretty much gets into slight spoilers. I'm not sure if we want to like really dive into it, but I'll try and maneuver around this. So over on the Ragnarok subreddit, there was a data miner, the Morse _. So they revealed that they found a hidden cutscene dialogue in the game's files for Ragnarok, which they did this with the 2018 game a while ago. And they found that in the 2018 game, they found the intro to Ragnarok. So in the 2018 game code, like there were references to Atreus finding out Tyr was alive, for example, which that on its own is not a spoiler, because that's basically the Ragnarok plot that was very public and known to people. So
right.
PSA here, this could in theory be possibly leaking the plan for like the intro or plot line for this next mainline game. So, just full disclosure, so people are not super mad. But because it's in-game files, like it's real as far as I'm aware. So the cutscene dialogue found in Ragnarok, there's a scene with a character called Robed Figure who talks about Odin and Atreus, saying that Odin failed and Atreus rejected us. The robed figure is then revealed as, pause, last chance, Athena, who is on a higher plane of existence, which she's part of the voices coming from the Rift and Ragnarok. And then there's another scene where Atreus is speaking with somebody named Mao, and they can only say their name Mao. So the dialogue is Atreus saying, "Wake up, I think we're getting close." Then Mao says, "Mao." He says, "Hey, you insisted on coming along. Come on, let's have a look." Mao, "I hope you're right. Sounds like we found it." So the revealing thing here is that Mao is Egyptian for cat, and they're also a manifestation of the sun god Ra. And then, like, in universe, Atreus like has powers to communicate with animals.
Yep, animals, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like the most sort of like pretty clear indicator that we're going to Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the belief for a while, though, is that it was going to go into like Egyptian mythology and stuff, which is cool. I mean, that's fine. We've done the obviously Greek, Norse, now Egyptian, and it's interesting the way that they are kind of putting this all together to where it's going to be them just going between all these different mythologies and maybe working to try to explain that a bit better. Because to my understanding, in order to really get an idea as to how Kratos was shifting between the mythologies, there were like comics you could read and stuff, and it would try to fill in the gaps. But I almost wonder if this is going to start zooming out and showing a clear-cut picture as to how all that's going down.
It's fascinating. I mean, I was just curious how the hell, like, what is the logic of like, why are we there and what's the reason for being there? And so like, there was already like some like groundwork being laid in Ragnarok for like Athena. So I like this. I think this is kind of a good direction.
Yeah, here's the question though. When would this even come out?
Good question, John. because here's the thing, right? This Cory Barlog game is not a mainline entry. I'm very confident in saying that. Now that game should be out next year, which is great news. Actually, that means like 2027. We're looking at possibly Intergalactic and a huge Cory Barlog game, but that should be next year. As far as I'm aware, like, and I'm sure they're going to do outsourcing, but like the remakes are in house.
Right.
So as people are off that, they're going to funnel into the remakes. I don't think the remakes are going to be that long to make. I mean, they're remakes. There's a foundation of what they're building, but I think that has to happen. And then I think the mainline entry is far away, dude.
2031.
I don't know, man. Maybe, because that would put it at 10 years since Ragnarok for another mainline entry. Yeah. which is a long time, but I also think that's maybe, I don't know if like the right time is the right way to phrase this, but like it gives people that appetite. Like if you don't like the Cory Barlog thing, you get to play the remakes, by what do we want to say, like 2029 or something?
The remakes, I could see 29 on those.
Yeah, I don't know, like, so you do have like some appetite satiated there, and then by 2032, 2033, you get to play a nice mainline entry. And like, I think by that point, enough waiting happened. And that's going to be like another, almost like a 2018 again. Like everyone's ready to buy that game.
We're pretty far out. Let's say 2032. Is that thing cross-gen?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I feel like that's the game used that if you need to get the only on PlayStation logo has to flash on that game, and you like, this is a PS6 game and that's it.
That would be epic. Like if we assume we're gonna wait that long for the next mainline entry, like seeing that as like a PlayStation 6 only game, I think that would be pretty.
Because now we're realizing, God of War might turn into like the big mainline ones. That might turn into an 8 to 10 year cycle. So it basically shows up to sell the next gen system specifically halfway through the generation.
But like I stand by, like, this was the right call when Cory Barlog said, we're doing like Ragnarok's going to happen and we're done with Norse and with this one game. Because at that point we would be waiting till the 2030s for Ragnarok to finish.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. Like, even though the end of Ragnarok, I think, was definitely, everyone has the same consensus of like, it felt very like quick, like everything wrapped up very fast towards the end. I don't know. That to me felt like kind of a compromise just so we can get to another game.
And I think I do wonder if they, so with the original, with the Greek mythology, you had the isometric zoomed out look, the Norse mythology. You were much closer. You're like up close, personal, over the shoulder for Kratos. I feel like to then go to Egyptian mythology, you'd probably want to do something a little different there too for the presentation.
You want new combat?
I kind of feel like you have, like, every time, I almost think they should treat it that way. Every time you go to a new mythology, there's some kind of wrinkle or just difference in the presentation for combat and the game itself. So kind of, yeah, like, it's kind of a shame that they did I mean, Sons of Sparta is fine, but like, if they had picked out a mythology or something that was specifically 2D, and like every game in there is just always 2D, like that would have been kind of cool. You know, something like that, where they have it set up so that every different mythology is even defined by the gameplay style and presentation.
If they do a new combat system, you're also asking them to spend more time making it.
I mean, we're already talking about 2032 at this point.
Yeah, but that 2030, I think 2032 is locking in like the same combat system.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's like risky too. Like they took a risk with 2018.
They did.
And now they're like less risk averse. So I don't know. Because like what would they do?
First person sport.
Hey, there's a build of God of War 3 out there that's playable in PSVR.
That would be insane. Like doing the boss fights and like flipping over things.
Dude, there's a build of God of War 3 that you can play in virtual reality at SIE.
They probably had that until in QA they had to keep mopping up the floors. Just puking their guts out.
It's like lasered into my head. GDC 2014, when Shuhei like announced PlayStation VR, and he said one of the earliest builds that made him a believer is Santa Monica getting God of War running in PS. So he was Kratos, and nobody was ever Kratos again. Nobody was ever Kratos again.
Is there a build of that somewhere that like could just leak online?
There must be, and I want it now.
My PS4 is hacked. Like if we could find that build, we could load it up.
Yes. Somebody put it out there. I want to play that first person God of War. That'd be so cool. I would like that. Fucking most people.
See, if you never get Shuhei on an interview, you could ask him about it.
I could. Yeah, that is probably a great thing to quiz him on. Where's that build?
Yeah, where is it? Where is it?
Where exactly? Can you like tell me the floor? And then like what door do I have to walk in to get it?
Yeah. Access code.
I do know that the Boomerang controller is like on a certain floor at the Sony Group headquarters.
Is it?
Yeah, they still got it. It's somewhere.
You got it. Yeah, you got to keep that somewhere.
Yeah. Brutal. All right, let's move on to some other news stories going on. You see, like Kojima Productions or Kojima himself has been like putting up all these pictures about editing a new trailer.
Yeah.
And he was doing that before the State of Play. State of Play comes and goes. Yeah, we got a DS2 PC trailer. He's still editing a trailer. Then on the 24th, SIE does a site visit, and he lets people know that they like did a group watching of a trailer.
That's weird, right?
Was that Fizzant?
So it's interesting that it would be Fizzant because it still felt like that game is so far away.
But why would it be SIE?
Yeah, that's the thing that's weird because that's the one he's doing that, and he's doing the game OD with Microsoft, and I don't think, I mean, at this time it's only an Xbox game for OD, to my understanding. Like I'm sure it could go to PlayStation at some point, but he had Sony there basically to show them a trailer. So I was thinking, I'm like, the only thing that makes sense is just that. It'd be Fizzant. Unless there's some kind of extra content that he made for Death Stranding 2. There's like add-on content.
That's true. Maybe it could be that. It might be a pipe dream. It's like it's early for Fizzant, but also this guy like just shows shit so early compared to
he does.
Yeah.
He does.
Dude, we got like a poster and casting details for this game.
Yeah. And he has enough people, but the thing is, the one cast member we don't have yet is the main character.
Robert Pattinson is people expect that that's who it is.
But wouldn't you make
Pattinson.
But shouldn't that be a big enough deal that you'd make a trailer specifically around the cast reveal? Like that, like the main character reveal?
Maybe it'll be very similar to Death Stranding, where it's like the game actually had a decent turnaround time to make. And also the first trailer we get like reveals the pro tag,
Yeah.
and it's just Robert Pattinson like fully naked holding a baby, but
Oh,
it's not
well.
it's not Death Stranding. Instead,
I
maybe he's like naked going through like a, I don't know, because it's tactical espionage. So I don't know.
Yeah. I figure they could do like he could probably set that up just to show who is playing the main character. And it, it's like it's set up in like they've done the whole photogrammetry thing and it looks really good. And it's not in-game visuals. I'm sure they could put that together to get the hype rolling for it because we're thinking that's 2030.
Dude, now that we're talking about it, I'm starting to be convinced that's what's going to happen. Because he didn't show the pro tag for the he
Yeah.
is saving it to reveal it for a trailer.
I kind of
He's
wonder
gotta
if
be, man.
that's like a May state of play or something.
Wherever it is, I think that's I'm starting to think that's what he's going to do.
The main protagonist, yeah. That wouldn't shock me.
He loves doing that. He did that with Sophia whatever her last name is, for OD, revealing her that way. I think.
Mhm.
I don't think we knew she was playing that beforehand. Well, I guess we saw from like leaks, but the proper first time he got to do it on his terms, that's where we saw them. And then same with Norman twice, one with PT and then one with Fizzin, or not Fizzin, DS1.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is it's going to be to show off more cast members, specifically the main protagonist.
Yeah. All right, it's probably that. Oh, we forgot to touch on this because we've been touching on next gen news left and right, but within the time we had our last Click R3, we had another report. This one was from Bloomberg about a PS6 delay. Debbie Wu, Takashi Mochizuki, and Yulim Lee wrote this one. It was more of a broad article about AI demand and what's going on with technology and electronics. But when they were touching on game consoles, they said Sony's considering a PS6 delay back to 2028 or even 2029, according to people familiar with the company's thinking. And they also mentioned Nintendo in here too, as they're considering a price increase for that machine.
Not really surprising. I mean, we've been talking about the idea of a delay for a while. There's just more backing to that.
Right.
But it's them considering, not necessarily etched in stone, but it's not like Sony's having too many problems unless there's another studio out there of 70 people. They're somewhere. They're doing very well.
Yep.
So no, I mean they can ride the PS5 generation an extra year if they need to, but eventually you're right. You mentioned this. The technology gets older every year, and they'll be like, man, are we going to launch this, or would it be the same price to go up a tier with AMD?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah, I'll stand by it. I actually don't want to wait till the 2030s. I don't.
No, I get that.
Not with the current chipset.
I think we need to also though see this PSSR 2.0 update that's getting hyped like crazy.
Yeah, we had a patent called graphics processing that was recently published, and it dates back to a 2024 application date. The patent doesn't name PSSR, but it's basically that because it's describing convolutional neural networks. That's what PSSR is based off of. So a lot of people are talking about this because the patent describes real-time quantization of the neural network if the GPU load is too heavy. So the intended solution is smoothing out or avoiding frame drops for native resolution PS5 Pro titles. So developers may now get a use case where PSSR temporarily reduces its reliance on the CNN to keep performance in check. So maybe it's a patent. Sony files a billion of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily sure if this is the basis for PSSR 2.0, but we are hearing that should be pretty much showing up any day now.
Yeah, there was some speculation that it's in Resident Evil. Yeah, I saw that going around.
Well, that's what we were talking about before. Like, we don't know if Sony's even going to like officially announce it. Like, Mark Cerny will talk about it, and he has previously, but it's still kind of uncharted territory. We don't know if they're going to like call it 2.0, like FSR 2 and 3 and DLSS. So it might be a completely behind the scenes sort of thing.
I kind of think it's just because Mark Cerny seems to really enjoy discussing this stuff and presenting it. I think we'll see another video where he is with AMD. They talk about it. Then he goes down some of the bullet points and explains it. And then he's like, it's out now for developers and publishers to use. So you're going to start seeing it pop up in your games, and that'll probably be it, I assume. Maybe, I don't know, in the options, maybe, like, you're right, maybe it'll say PSSR 2.0 as a thing that you toggle on or off or something. But people are saying Resident Evil on the PS5 Pro looks like substantially better than expected. So ray tracing the whole thing, and I'm gonna play it here on that. I was getting it on the Switch too, because I was just curious to see how it would look there. Might give us some insight into even Sony's handheld down the road with a game like this with RE Engine. But I was very interested after hearing a lot of this discussion around the PS5 Pro to get a game of this caliber like that for it.
And they should. That's what the Pro should have been the whole time. Any like high profile third party game, get them using PSSR and make sure it's a first class experience.
Yes, I'm hoping there's a trend, because Resident Evil right now, Crimson Desert in a few weeks.
Yes. How do you feel about that game?
So people did an event for it. You're gonna like, the embargo is gonna lift, I think.
Is it Monday or something?
I think it's like next week, and apparently it is good. Apparently it is the actual thing that they're describing. Like, it's not smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's smoke and mirrors would be the right way to put it, but I think people are just wondering, like, is this like actually super shallow? Like, is it fun doing all this shit you keep pitching?
Yeah, that they're talking about a lot of stuff, but apparently they're trying to make it so there's not necessarily a skill tree you fill out. You get stuff, or leveling up even experience. You get stronger by just doing things in the game, and it's used to bolster your abilities and health and whatever else. So I mean, there's a lot. They showed a whole level in the sky, like a whole sky area that you explore. I don't know. The world looks massive, and then I see the system requirements for it, and they're not even that high on PC. And there's even discussion that it's going to work on the Switch 2 potentially. So. Yeah. I don't know, man. This game sounds crazy. This might be one of those games that actually shocks people when it comes out. It's like, oh, okay, it actually is that good.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just curious what you felt about that game. Like, does it really sound like a sort of like a real Skyrim here? Like, it's just going to be that compelling to do everything? Or
apparently, again, they're doing their best to sell it, and I need to see some of these impressions from all the people who went. Even those events, though, when you go, they have somebody who's next to you ready to help you if there's something wrong, or it's always going to come down to when it actually gets out into the wild on release, and people just have a chance to sit down in a quiet room by themselves, play it, and see what their own experience is. So I'm optimistic for it, I think.
Okay. Good. Now, we did briefly mention this earlier. I feel like we'd be remiss to not, to some degree, acknowledge how fucking crazy this is for Xbox. So a lot of big stuff happening there. We're not going to go over everything, but the cliff notes is that Phil Spencer, Microsoft CEO of gaming, has retired. Sarah Bond, president of Xbox, she has left. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has appointed Asha Sharma, the former head of Core AI, as the new executive vice president and CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Matt Booty getting a promotion as executive VP and chief content officer, reporting to Sharma. And Sharma has only been with Microsoft since 2024. She admits that she's not much of a gamer, but wants to understand the business and, this and that. They're already very active on their personal X account, responding to fans. The PlayStation news here, at least, is that one Xbox fan on X was pleading the importance of exclusivity. Franchises like Halo, Gears, Forza. Sharma responded back with, quote, "Hear you." Just that. Then we had a Windows Central exclusive interview with Sharma. And when they were asked about game exclusivity and that strategy, they said, quote, "Right now, I need to learn candidly about the why of these decisions, what we are optimizing for, and what the data says about the Xbox strategy today. That's the honest answer. I'm looking at lifetime value, not just what happened in a previous moment or in short-term efficiencies and things like that. The plan's the plan until it's not the plan." So obviously it's crazy. Like this, it's funny watching how the news cycle played out, right? Because Sony does something crazy, and then Microsoft seemingly it tends to like step in and be like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
So it's nuts. John, what do you make of it?
It's so hard to tell right now because things won't change for a while. They even said in that interview, it's going to be a bit, before we're able to do anything substantial, because we have to, they said, parse the data and figure out the why. They're saying all the basic corporate things here. But I don't know how so I talked about Sony turning the ship for exclusives. Dude, I have no idea how Microsoft turns the Titanic right now while the iceberg is 5 feet away or something. Like, I don't know how they do this, but the idea that they could stop putting games all of a sudden on PlayStation after announcing games for PlayStation coming out this holiday, I don't know how that would work out. And it's hard to believe that would be the case going forward. But I mean, the time you would do it is when a new generation is about to happen. And there's still a thought process that Microsoft would look to launch their next gen system holiday 27. That feels soon. And it would be difficult for them to sell what I believe is at least $1,000 system. At least at the rate they would want to. They're not looking to sell it like how Steam sold 6 million or 5 million or whatever Steam decks. They're looking to sell tens of millions of Xbox systems still. I don't know how you do that easily with $1,000 console on the market. So they got a lot of stuff to think about. She still says they want to do hardware. Like, they're really, really in the trenches for hardware. Matt Booty says they're built to be a first-party platform with hardware involved, not necessarily a publisher specifically. And it's because they have so many technology divisions within Microsoft. And that makes sense. Surface Team and all the other stuff they make. So somehow they have to redefine Xbox in a hurry. And it's going to be tough after, I don't want to say the damage that's been done to the brand, but it wasn't exactly going in a great direction. Every time we hear their quarterly earnings come in, they barely want to talk about Xbox. And most of the time it's 20 to 30% down on hardware. And in a world, as we just talked about with Sony and live service games, basically holding up these platforms now with crazy amounts of money rolling in, you want as many systems out as you can possibly get. So maybe they do figure out a way to get back to drawing board with the console, but they would need to do something about Game Pass. And I know people don't want to hear that, but they would probably have to remove the idea of day one releases in the Game Pass and lower the price on it. It's $30 a month. It's $306 a year. Like, you'd have to buy what, 5 $70 games a year for that to make sense, to be like, oh no, I'll get the $360 thing and get more out of it. I just don't know if that's the case for the mainstream majority of gamers out there. The plugged in ones, sure, but how many are there enough plugged in gamers to hold up a subscription service like that at what Microsoft was projecting, which at one point in time with the court documents that got out there, like 100 million Game Pass subscribers by 2030. Is that something that's feasible right now? No, not anymore. So there's a lot they have to do and a lot they have to rethink. And man, she's got her work cut out for her. That's all I know.
Dude, this story is nuts. Like, everything about it is, it's so layered, dude. Because
the unfortunate thing is Sarah Bond got, they just threw her under the bus.
It seems pretty apparent to me like that was not an amicable departure. And then the story came out kind of scapegoating her, which it kind of doesn't feel all too right, because she reports to Phil. So Phil's got to back it too. But also Phil is under the discretion of like Satya and Amy Hood, which I've always thought, and this seems accurate still, but there was like a civil war at the company because Xbox has to like start delivering and maybe doing things that they didn't necessarily want to do. So that all that shit played out, and that's how we have PlayStation games now.
Yeah.
And then he got approval to spend $8 something billion on ABK. And then we get like historically one of the worst Call of Duty since 2008. And Microsoft's probably sitting there going, well, son of a bitch, we could have used that money for something else.
Yep.
Dude, this it's insane.
I mean, it was a problem when they put Call of Duty into Game Pass and it really didn't move the needle at all. That's how they, I think at that moment they knew it was kind of over.
It's insane, dude. It's just so layered. I mean, so again, like we're not an Xbox show, but we like had to mention this. I would safely think the PlayStation games aren't going anywhere.
I don't know how they can. I don't know. It's so tough to do that. I mean, they put
How could
Halo
you?
on PlayStation. It's too late. And what's funny about this is they said that Phil started talking with Satya Nadella about retiring
Hmm.
last fall. What were we doing last fall, Ryan? We were doing a Click R3 about Halo on PlayStation. And I thought about that. I'm like, man, did that was really the straw that broke the camel's back. That was it. Seeing Halo next to that PlayStation logo.
Dude, like that's the thing. Like I like a lot of these Xbox guys, they took pride in their work. They came from traditional console backgrounds. We saw from court filings that like during the Blizzard or the Bethesda acquisition that they contemplated all day every day of doing like traditional console exclusivity.
Yep.
And they were very deliberate at that time because that was a big acquisition too before ABK happened. Like that, like they were so specific about their language and no, it's going to be exclusivity. But if there was an existing audience there, like they were still pretty much like trying to stick to the tried and true console ways. And like Phil's got head of Xbox in 2014. Like I think that definitely did sting for the guy of like, damn, like this is our biggest identity. And, we're pretty much being told that we have to start shipping it on PlayStation. I don't know, man. I cannot wait for Phil to like hopefully do a Shuhei tour. Come on, dude.
Hey, come on.
Dude, we
got you, Phil. Come on by.
Fuck, man. I would love to see Phil do like tons of podcasts and finally just like whether you love him or hate him, like he's definitely like a talker. And I would love to see him be like much more candid about what the hell happened.
Hey, come on by, Phil. We got you. Phil.
We'll take care of him. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm on the show for an hour. Talk to us.
Yeah, like the PlayStation, like that's the great example we have though, is that we were talking about the PC stuff earlier, and we know like if they make PC games, it's fucking 1% of their revenue.
Yeah.
But when Xbox starts making PlayStation games, like and Forza Horizon does how well on PlayStation, millions of copies, and it tops the like one guy needs the other more than you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so
that's true.
I don't know how could they possibly go back, especially with a box that upends their own console storefront because it's gonna install Steam. The whole thing's insane.
Well, as we know now, who knows at this point, because they still have some time before that generation kicks off with this new person in charge. Maybe she goes, we're going to do everything different that the previous regime did. Everything's different. Maybe they go, hey, look, this didn't work. We're doing the opposite. This didn't work. We're doing the opposite. You got to convince Satya Nadella over there. But eventually, if you're going to be in the console business, you got to put emphasis on the console for the business. So I don't know how they do that with PlayStation getting all these ports from them. PC, I think they can get away with because they are Windows. And let's face it, I know the whole Linux gaming push is on right now. We all know the vast majority of people are using Windows, right? That's just the way it is. So that's their mainstream right there on the PC side. But even then, they sell the thing through Steam, and Steam gets 30%. So they can't even sell to people on their own OS that people have installed by default because they go off and install Steam instead of use the Microsoft Store that's already installed on your computer. Oh man, they got their work cut out for them.
Make it make sense.
Yeah,
make it make sense.
It's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, so that went down. What do you think about Seamus Blackley's comments? So for the audience, co-creator of Xbox, he's kind of like a Shuhei. Like he every so often he makes headlines a lot for however he feels about current Xbox leadership. But he basically was saying he feels like Sharma's there to sunset the brand.
I don't know why you would bring her in to do that, because the one thing I will give her credit, at least from her track record, she's very good at user acquisition is the word about her right now. And if you look into what she's done previously, so she is legitimately brought in, it seems, to try to turn things around for Xbox. Because if they were going to sunset the brand, I would just been like, hey, Matt Booty, you know what? Guess what? You're the head of Xbox now. Good luck. And like that would have been it. That would have been my move. I'd be like, all right, hey, you know what? If you're going down with the ship, if that's the case, good luck. But it seems like they bring her in out of core AI, which I mean, AI is very. We know a lot of these companies have major focus on it, and user acquisition is a big thing for it. But they bring her over to Xbox to sunset it. I don't know if I would really. I mean, they could be, but that's not really the read I'm getting from this. The read I'm getting is we spent a lot of money on Xbox with these investments and these purchases, especially after Activision Blizzard. Add it all up, it's almost $100 billion. We need this to at least look decent on the balance sheet, okay? Which means we need more people. So let's bring over someone who, by the way, she's actually pretty young for being in like this position. I think she's like 35, 36, something like that. But she's had a pretty good run so far in like the corporate world. So I'm assuming she's going to give it a shot. I don't think this is let's wind this thing down and figure out our best way out. I think it's like, hey, let's actually see if we can do something with this next generation coming up.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. Like their sort of PR campaign right now.
36.
They're saying like they're on paper they're saying all the right things. I think people would hopefully know at this point you can't take that at face value. But.
No, they're not going to show up and be like, we're shutting it down. That's it. No.
Yeah. Well, that happened. All right, we have a few quick third-party news stories. More Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 discussions going on. So now that the series is multi-platform, there's concerns that Switch 2 or Series S may pull the game's visual fidelity down. But speaking with Automaton, we have game director Naoki Hamaguchi explaining that Part 3 won't be downgraded because the development structure simply doesn't work that way to begin with. He says they build and spec the game on PC to the highest fidelity possible, then port to console within that structure, that framework. So based on the environment for the GPU, CPU, memory, they spec it appropriately. So he said that with the game that they're working on right now, they're doing the final push for it. They're in the final phase, and it won't be too long before they're able to share more about the game.
Yeah, he obviously has an engineering background. I mean, he's just a programmer and stuff at Square for the longest time, and until he got promoted up and up to the role he is now. You could see he was like, hold on, I'm gonna break this down for you. If you look at that interview, it's like paragraphs of him explaining all kinds of technical things. And I'm like, my gosh, this guy is definitely still like that coder at heart, trying to just again like drill down to the basics to explain to the person. I'm sure eventually was just like glossy eyed, like what? Okay. But yeah, this is the thing. They definitely have the idea of trying to get this game out, this third one. And I think this third one's going to do very, very well for them because you can already tell they've gotten experience with Rebirth and Remake going to these different platforms. Because it's more than just the technical side. You also have to deal with lot check and all kinds of other policies with these storefronts and how games run on them. So I think the third one is going to hit the ground running. And I think it's going to be, I don't want to say, I mean, look, Final Fantasy VII, the remake trilogy, I don't know if it's worked out the way Square wanted it to. There was word that they were expecting bigger sales from some of these games. I think the third one, though, has a chance to bring them back a bit for that. So, and let's face it, they're going to sell a trilogy pack, a few years from now, and they'll do re-releases. But I think the third one's going to do very well, releasing across the board on all platforms day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree. So that we talked about Crimson Desert. We did have some words from Todd Howard recently speaking with Kind of Funny, just going over a handful of things. He did actually set expectations for this upcoming Starfield update, basically saying it's not Starfield 2.0. I actually really like how candid he was about this because what he was explaining was if you like Starfield, this update's going to be great for you. If you didn't like Starfield, then this probably isn't going to change that. He didn't say anything about PS5 version, but we're still expecting that's probably going to be announced very soon. Rumors are indicating next month is when they're going to have sort of event there. So,
okay,
they'll confirm that. He also talked about Elder Scrolls 6. Same thing. It's far away, but progress is looking good. Studio's playing it every day. And he did confirm that they're moving over to Creation Engine 3. So still in-house proprietary engine, but they're on version 3.
They got a while for that one. It's going to be a bit.
Still got a while.
Announced it in 2018.
Yep. And they've said they've actually regretted confirming it that far away.
They had to, though, dude. They announced Fallout 76. They had to.
Yeah. It's crazy that like everybody's still so mindful of that, even back then. Yep. Like we know that we're announcing this multiplayer thing. Like, just so you know, just satiate your appetite. Here's this other thing. Highguard had some issues recently, still going through some massive issues. We found out Tencent was the big financial backer, courtesy of Stephen Totillo's newsletter GameFile. And their website went down, then it went back up. But I mean, yeah, they've mass layoffs, and it's just not looking very good. Their last CCU count, I think, was like under 600 players on Steam, which is abysmal. So,
is my mic making weird noises now, Ryan?
I'm hearing some like shaking here and there. I don't know if you're like hitting the desk or something.
Okay. People are saying check the mic. I was just making sure.
John's always got mic issues.
It's a different mic too.
The cable or something.
It's a different mic. It's a different mic. What are they doing to me here?
There you go. I think we have the same. No,
I muted and unmuted.
Boom mic.
Now people are saying I'm loud.
You're loud?
That's what I'm saying. Do I sound loud?
To me, you sound the same.
Okay. I moved the mic away a little bit.
Move it away so you can breathe.
Yeah, there you go. I don't need it that close to me. Better, thank you.
I really hope somebody caught that reference.
We're good.
Chocolate rain.
We're good.
All right. We got French publisher Nacon running into financial troubles ahead of their live stream next week. A majority shareholder, Big Ben Interactive, defaulted on its debts. So now they're financially restructuring, filing for insolvency, trying to keep some cash flow going, try to stop some job layoffs. Was it Test Drive Unlimited that really put them under?
Don't they have a Connect coming up soon? Am I going crazy?
Yeah, that live stream is next week.
March 4th.
Yeah. So, but John, like they're trying, but they do have a live stream next week.
So wait a minute. They're desperately fighting off insolvency while doing a presentation next week of games that may not come out then.
We don't know that. They're going to restructure and get some things moved around, and we'll see. Nacon released Test Drive, Greedfall, Styx, Hell Is Us, RoboCop.
I did claim RoboCop was good. I did claim Test Drive. I just haven't played it because I was on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. They're actually a big publisher. They've released a lot of games.
Yeah.
A lot more than you think. So just more bad games industries, problems.
Now if I'm going to fire up a racing game, is Tokyo Extreme Racer.
Yeah, you're not firing up Test Drive.
I'm going to buy Tokyo Extreme. I guess I'm just going digital, but I don't know. I wanted that box art, man.
Buy it. It's on PlayAsia right now. How much is it? 50?
60?
Not even 70, John.
When's it coming in? Let me see. Maybe I'll unbox that one.
You can get reward points too, like the coins on PlayAsia.
Maybe I'll unbox that one for the people. For the people out there. Let me see.
You're doing such a service to the community.
I mean, I don't know. People apparently don't. Let me see. When would I get this? Oh yeah, it's 70 with shipping.
Oh, with shipping.
Yeah, because you have to pay. Oh, you need to spend like $90 for free shipping, like on your order. Let me see what it looks like.
Well, hold on. There's got to be another game on there you need.
Let me see.
Has to be
here.
Has to be another game on there you need.
I don't know. I mean, otherwise it's $70 without that. Otherwise,
there's got to be
more.
Yeah.
Let me see. $69.89. Who knows when I get it? Economy shipping.
You could buy. Actually, no, that might not count.
Well, I was gonna say you could $5 more. I
was gonna say you could buy like foreign PSN credit to get your to get it over the cart, but that doesn't work, I think. So
let's see. It delivers March 15th to March 20th. I'll have it someday.
And when you get it, you can let the world know what's inside the box.
You know what? That is the one thing. I'm actually kind of curious if there's anything decent in there. A manual, anything.
Does it have like any sort of like pre-order bonus or something? Because they always just slip a little paper in there with the code.
Man, I don't know. Maybe I will just go for it here because I'll do an unboxing on. I mean, the box art looks really cool.
You're not gonna get no full manual. Come on now.
Well, I ordered Ninja Gaiden Ragebound because it was on sale on Amazon for like $22. Has a manual inside.
Okay, but like those are like more. Those are specific. Those are games like those. You sometimes do that.
I ordered it, so sometime in March it'll be here, and
There
then I
you
will
go.
unbox it on camera.
You didn't get 2 copies? Someone over for your boy?
I got one. I could have technically ordered another one and give it to you like too many games or something. You know what's gonna be funny? We're gonna go to too many games. I bet you it'll be there.
You think so?
I think so.
I feel like the import section isn't actually like that big. Like
no, but this seems like a game that they would want to get for it.
Well, what vendor would have it?
I mean, there's like PS5 like import booths there, like booths that have all import games. PS5 because you would just look for there's the Japan one, but then there's the Asia one. You want the Asia one, so they would have to have that. If it's $70, apparently that's the value. So.
I also wanted to mention very quickly, Konami delisted MGS4 and MGS Peace Walker on PSN, on PlayStation 3. So they announced Volume 2, and then for some godforsaken reason, for the very few people that would transact on the PS3 store, they said you can't do that anymore.
Well, just shutting that down.
Yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning. And then last thing I've got for you, John, the God of War Amazon show has casted Boulder, played by Ed Skrein. He's playing Boulder. The Stranger.
Every cast that they've announced looks good.
They look like him every time, which is crazy.
Yeah. I got to give them credit. They're doing whoever's like picking the actors and actresses, they're doing a good job.
I'm trying to make sure I think last time we had Click R3, it was Mimir, Brock, Sindri, and Atreus were cast. So did I miss anybody else? Like what was did last week we have casting choices? No, we didn't. So I think we're caught up. I think that's all the casting choices so far. Yep. Okay. That's everybody.
Let's see. We have Bespoke says Gran Turismo Kart and Astro Kart. Astrobot racing game. Let's go. Astro Kart.
I would love that, dude.
An Astro Kart. What if they did Astro Kart, but they brought in all different characters from across the PlayStation universe and they made it like a Diddy Kong adventure mode with it too. Dude,
with the ready.
Come on, man. The Diddy Kong adventure racing, but it's Astrobot. Dude, I've now decided I want an Astrobot kart racer.
I'd be totally down for that.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
I'm in for it, dude. I'm in for it.
Matt says Microsoft couldn't let PlayStation have the worst news of the week. I don't know. I mean, look, some people were calling for Phil Spencer and like change of leadership and stuff. So Bluepoint, no one was happy that Bluepoint closed. Like no one. So, you know
what I forgot to mention too? Like what's crazy about that is they both left before the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
Insane, dude. Insane.
You think you'd want to stay for that?
Yeah. Right.
Bespoke says Special Nick said it is not an Atreus game, which likely implies Loki. Maybe he follows Melissa to the Egyptian pantheon, gets in trouble. Next God of War is daddy showing up. Hey,
well, I mean, I will be excited to see a black cat. I'm going to be pretty pumped about that.
There you go. Okay, Toast, let's see. John and Ryan are the new CEOs of SIE. What immediate decisions are you making, even if it doesn't make any business sense? I'm releasing a handheld.
Dude, if it doesn't make any business sense, then I'm doing basically what everyone has wanted, like PlayStation to do. Like I'm green lighting. I'm picking up studios that will definitely want to do remakes and remasters. I'm going to bring back everything, finance all those PS3 ports, get them over. I'm going to offer implicit conversions, a shitload of money. I'm going to bring them on board. I'm going to say, you can start working on this PS3 emulator.
PS3.
Get you in-house. Yeah, get that going. Obviously, I don't care for live service games on a personal level. So, yeah, I'm going to reduce the spend on that substantially. Probably not do probably not do any of those games.
I would probably, you know, I thought about it. I would probably contract one of those older franchises that are just sitting on the shelf, like Jack and Daxter or something. I'd consider contracting that to like Toys for Bob or something.
Yeah, like I'd make sure I'd find the right people for the right IP, bring those games back. I would also hardware wise, because you said doesn't make any business sense. I'm going full no business sense for PlayStation 6 hardware. I'll do a SKU where it's like, okay, this is the cheapest we can get it. This is for your mass market, everyday person. I'm going to do a low volume SKU. You're going to have to pay for it because your boy has to make the numbers work here. But I'm going to do a low volume SKU. It's going to have fucking everything on board. I'm going to fire up factories again. I'm going to get cell processors printed out, put on the SoC. All right. I'm going to put an emotion engine and a graphic synthesizer on the SoC. I'm putting a goddamn CD laser in this thing. So my PS1 emulator, because it pretty much serves the job. We don't need PS1 hardware. It's going to play every PlayStation. The disk drive is going to be beautifully designed into the hardware.
Okay.
It's not a thing that you snap on or nothing like that. But I'm going to release the Ultimate PlayStation. And it's going to play disc-based 1 through 6 games.
It's be like $3,000.
hey. Low
volume.
People,
okay.
Yeah, low volume, but I'm going to make it, I'll do a break even on bill of material.
Okay.
We won't even make profit on it. It's for diehard PlayStation fans.
It's like an anniversary kind of thing. Like when the big anniversary comes around, you make the Ultimate PlayStation for $2,000.
But nobody's stopping me, right? So it doesn't have to make business sense. It's always manufactured.
Okay.
Well, plenty of supply, You guys can just buy this thing when you're ready. All right. You might have to get on.
I would probably, even though it would be pretty expensive, if it really did all of that, I mean, I'd probably buy it because it's like the one-stop shop like system. Yeah.
100%.
Is there a slot for Vita?
Of course, John.
Okay. Thank you.
There's
a cartridge slot for Vita.
We put a goddamn UMD slot on it.
I was about to say, where's the UMD go?
And it's got 17 USB ports. We've got card readers for SD,
Good.
compact flash, Memory Stick Pro Duo. Yes.
Okay.
If I'm CEO, I will do what I can before I'm kicked out.
That'd probably be second day you're out.
I tried.
Your proposals would not make it past the email.
I tried. Ah, shit.
Claw says, Sloppy and Adela. See, man, everyone has a nickname. Hates exclusives. So these aren't coming back. I hope they at least make Play Anywhere or the hybrid approach work well. That's why I keep my Xbox even without exclusives. The convenience factor. That is the thing. You know, convenience does factor into it for people. That was the biggest reason, like this, especially at first, the Switch with the hybrid model, the portable play for console-like experiences. I mean, that was something for people, you know? So Xbox Play Anywhere is a really cool thing when it works. The problem is it's still very scattershot because not every publisher goes, well, yeah, obviously we'll sell one version to PC and Xbox people. No, they want to sell two versions to those people. So it's tough. It's tough. Claw says, I don't know what to think about Core AI. It deals more with Copilot than LLMs. It's really a rebrand of tools like Visual Studio still. There's Copilot. Yeah, people hate Copilot. So there you go.
Yeah, there's one thing that stuck out a lot is the hate language surrounding Copilot.
Yeah, people don't like Copilot. That's the way it is. All right, we're caught up there. Sir, do you have PSX going to give it to you?
PSX gon' give it to you. This is the topic of the show where we go over something cool, old, nostalgic, or interesting about PlayStation history. Teach the kiddos something they didn't know about PlayStation, or just reminisce, as we often like to do. You know, I wish I had an extra drink and then also like a cup or something, because I would off-screen pour one out for our homies here. But I did want to go over Bluepoint, and you did mention it briefly. The PSX gonna give it to you is that Bluepoint did make one original video game, and it was Blast Factor on the PlayStation 3. It was a launch title, a digital launch title for, I'm pretty sure it was $5.99. I think it was fairly inexpensive. There's that and Cash Guns Chaos. Mm-hmm. Very cheap games on PSN for the first PlayStation Store, PlayStation Network on PS3. What's interesting too is that they always had a history with Santa Monica. This was when Bluepoint was very young, small studio. Santa Monica assisted on this project as well. I think it was like one of their incubation situations. I can't remember exactly. But Blast Factor is cool. It's a twin stick shooter. It's like a cellular structure, top down view. So you're like a little ship and you're shooting cells and organisms, basically. It's a very closed off, like sort of environment too, like a twin stick shooter. Like, and this, because it's the PS3 days, like you think about Geometry Wars, which would use like the full screen and everything, right? But this was, you had much MBG. He really wants you to play Marathon.
Oh, they need me. It's a first person shooter like Halo.
Let's not. I don't think they need you. Let's dial that down a bit.
I said what I said.
How dare you interrupt my soapbox for Blast Factor on PlayStation 3? What the fuck? It's a twin stick shooter. Uses 6-axis motion, John, and it's a core game mechanic because when you're twin stick shooting up in that bitch, you have to tilt the 6-axis left or right, and the whole board will push over left or right to sort of do like a field blast against the organisms, which will give you room to shoot the organisms. It got a multiplayer pack, an advanced research DLC, and it got a trophy patch December 2008. It was one of the earliest games that got a trophy patch because that was, mid 2008 when trophies came out. Handful of games got patched early on. December was like towards the end of that, so there are more trophy games finally coming to the scene. But Blast Factor was
Real Radic ruined it. I was going to make that point. It's
that
first 1080p 60 frames per second game.
Yep, that too. Because I think NBA is not full 1080, but excuse me, Ridge Racer was not full 1080 because 60. 1080 60, Ridge Racer and NBA, but either way, yeah, Blast Factor was such a fascinating game. I mean, on its own, it's very small and offensive, but I always remember it because it's like that's Bluepoint's original game, and it's the only one that they ever did, and it's fun. Trophies are hard. I didn't 100% that game. That's a pain in the ass.
The trophies are difficult.
I remember like struggling to get through it. Yeah, because it's got like a system where if you don't die, you keep cycling into harder cells, like the levels get progressively harder, and you can see the cellular outline. So like the squadron that you like get placed in every time you clear a board, if you like die, you go into an easier one. If you don't die, you go into a harder one. And the trophies ask you to like see all the cells or something like that. So I remember struggling with that game because it's not like other twin sticks where you get like the whole screen. Like it gets very chaotic because you're like in such a small field to play on. But I always recommend for anybody that likes twin stick shooters and maybe wants to pour one out for our homies Bluepoint, you can go check out Blast Factor. It's still available on PlayStation 3.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, there it is. Bluepoint closing them out strong with Blast Factor. Right back to where it started. That's loud.
What is that noise?
Marathon.
Oh my god! Did it start with a PS Studios logo?
Oh, I should have checked. It just has Bungie right now.
Yeah, that's what I was curious because they have not called that game a PS Studios.
Very yellow, green, yellow game.
All right, close it. Close it and relaunch it. Yeah,
all right, I'll do it now.
Yeah, I want to see if it gets. I want to see if it gets a PS Studios intro, or somebody in the chat can chime in.
I will do it now. Do it live.
Ironically, sometimes when you do that, then it won't show the logo and it skips right to it.
I closed it out completely though. I did the close out and everything.
Yeah, sometimes it
Marathon is pre-release software. Sony Interactive Entertainment presents.
It's just present.
Oh, there it is.
It is a PS Studios logo.
Yep.
They've not put that logo in front of it at all for like every trailer so far. I think.
Yep.
I always got covered my ass here.
There it is. It did do that. Very cool. Very cool. Good stuff.
All right, that's all I've got for you. Go play with MBG.
As research for next podcast. It's a marathon.
Sure. Yeah, I did download it. I don't know if I'm gonna have time this weekend to play it.
It's cross play. We could play.
Yeah, I'm aware. But I'm saying I don't know if I have time to play it.
Well, I'm gonna be playing Resident Evil as well. But I'm gonna buy Marathon, I guess, at this rate because they're still playing, so it must be not terrible. So next weekend I'll be playing it too. But I'll have some time in Marathon for the next Click R3. Give some ideas and thoughts on it.
let's get a look real quick. What is the CCU on Steam for it right now? 100,000, peaked at 143.
Okay. I mean, I think we got to see on the weekend really, because it's it's still during the week. So I think
That's
the
fair.
weekend Saturday will probably I'd say afternoon on Saturday, afternoon Sunday will probably be our best indication as to where we are with it. Remember though, it's free right now. It'll be $40 next weekend. So that's I mean that'll be then we'll really know.
Based on 100K, I think it's already safe to say that if this game fails, it's players saying they don't want it, because I'm guessing they're going to have at least 1 million players, but probably more than that by Monday.
Thanks, Bespoke. I'd like to. Thanks. Gosh. Thanks, Bespoke.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. It was a fun podcast. 2.5 hours, actually. A lot of fun discussions. Then shout out to the 450 people who tuned in concurrent. Appreciate that. We're going to do more and more of this, of course, live as we have been. So it's good to see people coming by. And shout out, of course, to all the people who dropped generous super chats, the whole thing there. So, but we'll be back in a couple of weeks, do it all over again. We got Resident Evil coming up. We got a marathon, of course. So a lot of fun stuff happening right now. Looking forward to going over all that and more. And I'm sure what other wacky and crazy stuff Herman Holst has in store for us. So we'll see you guys then.